Hello, hello, hello. They updated OBS, so hopefully we're good here. It's been a while. Been a while. I don't know if I'm going to come back to streaming all the time still, but we'll see, I guess. From the last stream, it doesn't seem like anyone cares, so we'll see. Guess let's see if there's any news. Market's down. Waive shipping law for 60 days to steady oil market. Oh yeah, I guess the inflation report came in hot or something. 0.7. Yeah. Quite a bit more. Oh wow. It's the highest inflation you've had. Or producer prices, I guess. Since March of last year. Pretty interesting. Oh wow. All-time high for producer prices. Pretty interesting. Oh, you have a rate decision today? They're definitely not cutting, I would assume. Yeah. I don't think they're going to be cutting anytime soon now. With oil going up as much. Yeah, these have changed a lot. Now you don't even have a rate cut. Wow. Pretty interesting. You don't even have a rate cut anymore until like October, potentially. October, December. Wow, that changed a lot. That changed a lot. I guess nobody comes to this stream anymore either. That's cool. That's cool. Let's go. Oh, what's up, Moose? You'll probably be the only one here, but welcome. Hope you're doing good, bro. How's that golf sim? How's that golf sim treating you? I've been alright, bro. Can't really complain. Could be better, but is what it is, I suppose. I think Bitcoin retraced the breakout. Oh, not quite. Close. I mean, I guess kind of. Still bearish. Me and the boys stayed up playing until 2 a.m. Dude, that's awesome. That's awesome, bro. That's so cool. I'm jealous. I want to get a golf sim, bro. That sounds sick. Playing golf till 2 a.m., bro. I could do that. I could do that. I'd get good. I feel like I'd get really good. Well, I don't know. I think there'd be negatives and positives of having the golf sim. The negative is it's the same thing every single time. The positive, you just get to build your like muscle memory, I guess. Monday, I ripped a quick 18 by myself in 45 mins. I think I got worse. I mean, maybe you are like if you're playing on the sim a lot, you are playing on like perfect ground. There's a there's a lot of factors to golf other than just like the ground makes such a huge difference. You would never really think it unless you were like a avid player, but whatever grass it is, whether it's like wet or dry, there's just so many aspects to golf that are so interesting. It's like you can play on the sim and get pretty decent, but there's a point where you're not putting any like real world scenarios. You're not hitting a real shot, honestly. I think it'd be nice to know like how consistently far you hit certain clubs and stuff. I think that's what the golf sim would be like useful for. But to like actually get good, I don't think the sim would be very useful for that. I feel like you'd want one of those like trackers that you can take out on the course and like connect to a laptop. That would be cool because then you could track everything the Sims tracking, but in like real grass and stuff. What's up, Grady? How you doing, Grady? 2 people here. Nice. Nice. One good golf AI assistant's all it's gonna take to turn Corey's opinion around on AI. No. Nothing would ever turn my opinion around on AI. I hate AI. I don't think AI would be very good for as a golf assistant either. See the baseball? No, I don't watch baseball. What happened? I watched some crazy ass shooting in Austin, Texas. That shit was nuts. Totally unrelated, but no, I don't watch baseball. March Madness? Nah, I don't watch college basketball either. I don't watch sports, bro. Not a big sports guy. I'll probably start watching a little golf since the season's here. But even that, I'm not a huge fan of. I just don't really like watching sports. What is this? Meta creator push comes a $3,000 bonus for posting on Facebook. What? New program to lure top creator talent to Facebook. Comes with a hefty bonus. Large followings on TikTok, YouTube, or Instagram, offering them $3,000 a month for posting on Facebook. Ugh. Who would post on Facebook? Creators who have at least $1,000 to creators who have 100,000 followers on another platform. 3,000 to those who have 1,000,000. Huh. To post a minimum number of times per month to earn the bonus, but aren't required to meet engagement targets or post exclusive content. Man, that's insane. Limited. Only lasts for 3 months. Hassle of starting a new platform. Man, that's kind of insane. Kind of insane. i3's reborn in a sporty 440-mile range EV sedan. Huh. I think I've already watched a video about that. U2 and FIFA partner up for 2026 World Cup. World Cup. World Cup. Just filled a bracket and I have no clue who I picked. Just hoping to get lucky. I mean, good luck, but that never works. Not a big sports guy either. Hockey's fun in person. I haven't watched hockey in a long time. I was like a teenager last time I watched hockey. Besides that clip we watched not too long ago. Start playing hockey in 2 weeks. Oh, you're a hockey guy. I didn't know you played hockey. Kalshi. Fucking Kalshi. Pump for cardio. Buffett put up $1 billion a few years ago. Oh yeah. Somebody won it last year, I think. Or they missed by like 1 pick. I do remember reading about that. Cut that away. Odds of perfect bracket are inconceivable. I've never done a bracket. I don't know how that works. I don't know. If you're not watching college basketball, you're never gonna, unless you just get lucky, you're never gonna hit. You'd have to have some crazy luck. Shorzy? What the hell's Shorzy? Like Jersey Shore? You Jersey? It's a Jersey thing. Check it out. What's it on? Hulu? I don't have Hulu. Oh, it's a hockey show. Letterkenny? No. I don't watch shows either. I'm boring, bro. I'm boring. Lately I just play Rocket League and that's it. Go to the gym. Not a show guy. I can't sit and watch shows unless I like really like it. Amazon launches 1 and 3 hour delivery options. That's insane. Lego Batman comes out May 22nd. Warner Bros. Dominates Oscars with 11 wins. Trump administration will get $10 billion for brokering the TikTok deal. Aren't they an investor in TikTok too? I have no clue. Adobe agrees to pay settlement for making subs hard to cancel. Meta's killing end-to-end encryption on Instagram DMs. Oh, that's terrible. That's terrible. Uber robo-taxi rides are available for passengers in Las Vegas. Hasn't that always been a thing? Oh. Oh, okay. No, that's okay. Interesting. The AI are coming for the fucking the rideshare jobs. Who would have thought rideshare jobs would be the first to go? In the process of binging One Piece, the live action one or the anime? Naruto, I limit myself to one anime a year. One Piece is too intimidating. Isn't there like 700 episodes or some crazy shit like that? Alright, Moose, no problem, bro. Oh, the live action one, okay. 1,000 episodes? Yeah, it's something crazy. I guess I can look it up. How many episodes are in One Piece? Almost 1,200. Good lord. Almost 1,200 episodes. That's insane. Adobe CO plans to step down. Ramageddon not expected to ease. K-pop Demon Hunters getting a sequel. Bumble's the latest dating app to add an AI assistant. What the fuck? Hopes it will get its users on dates without them having to swipe. Oh wow, that's actually something AI is useful for. Wow, who would have thought? Who would have thought AI could be useful for something? I would never use a dating app personally. I'm probably gonna be alone forever, but it's all good. It's all good. Okay, I've seen all that news. Live action's much more reasonable. That's fair. I've never watched either of them. I'm sure I've seen an episode of One Piece, but I don't think I've watched it really. Where have I been? Around? Where have you been? Optimistic ending. Just been living life, bro. I guess. Whatever. Whatever that means. Whatever that means. Unofficial Animal Crossing port brings OG cozy game to PC. Oh, Animal Crossing's on PC, bro? That's sick. What a fire game. Mostly stable and working PC port of Animal Crossing. Play the full game at high resolution. Still some issues. Doesn't contain any game files. Your own ROM or copy of the game. Takes a lot of work. Can be ported to other platforms. No game files, codes, or assets are being shared. Nintendo has been unable to do anything. Better experience with emulation. Huh. I would do that. I'd play OG Animal Crossing. That's a good game. It's a fire game. I don't want to read that. That's ridiculous. Not much news. Or, not anything I find interesting, I should say. Forza Horizon 6? Oh, new DLC, I guess. Forza Horizon 6 is massive. Biggest city sounds truly massive. Talk quite a bit. Let's see. The studio had to dedicate an entire team to working on this Tokyo version of the game. Biggest city we've ever made, layered and detailed. Tokyo has all of it. It's just big biome. Tokyo alone in Forza Horizon 6 is 5 times bigger than any other urban area featured in Horizon game. Wow. Tokyo will even include multiple districts, its own open world, and there's still the rest of the map. Holy. Huh. Forza, huh? You watch the Larry Chang Nat Turner live stream? Nah, I don't have Twitter. I would have, but I'm not re-downloading Twitter just to watch Larry be on live stream. The last live stream Larry did was trash. He just promoted some garbage company, so I have no reason to watch anything Larry does, to be fair. Mudang found arrested for breaking into a closure. Mudang? KFC brings in pickle menu to the UK? A pickle menu, okay. Senators demand Seed Dance 2.0 to shut down immediately over AI videos. Nothing here. Jeez, 20 grand a day just doing a kick subathon? That's wild. X is testing a dislike button. Okay. Fed votes to hold rates steady. Yeah, no shit. No shit. Is Powell gonna be doing a speech? Is there a speech? Oh, there is a speech. It starts in 25 minutes. Mr. Jerome. Dude, there's so many people streaming this. I used to be the only person who would stream Jerome Powell back in 2021. Me and Stock Market Live, basically, were literally the only people that would stream that. Now fucking everyone streams it. So insane. And the funny thing is nobody fucking knows anything about economics, so it's wild that they even stream it.
She just raised $75 million.
Let's see. I thought you might be interested in Nat Turner. Not really. I kind of think PSA, like, there was a time where I thought, like, Pokemon and PSA and stuff like that was interesting, but that's long gone, honestly. I think it's just a money grab. I don't know that. I mean, I'm sure PSA will be around for a while, but I don't know. Just not really. I just don't really care about it. Interesting comment towards the end. Try to find the quote and timestamp. Trading cards have no use case. There will be, sure. Yeah. I mean, I didn't need Nat Turner to tell me that. That's already my view on cards anyway. And even crypto. There is no use case. But there are aspects, you know. There's the game, there's the collectible aspect, there's the rarity aspect, there's the grading aspect, the gambling aspect. There's a lot of aspects of cards that make them, you know, why they're valuable, and probably why they'll continue to hold their value, but I would never invest in cards personally. I'll invest in the company selling the cards. Like, if you know, if I wasn't all in GameStop, I'd probably buy like Hasbro or something like that. And the same with crypto. Like, if I was gonna invest in crypto, I would buy one of the mining companies or something. Like, if I wanted to invest in gold or silver, I'd invest in one of the mining companies. I wouldn't invest in any of those things directly because they have no, like, literally, that's the issue with those investments. They're useless investments. They don't produce anything. There's nothing of value in those investments. So, but at least if you're investing in a business in one of those areas, at least it's producing something, I suppose. I would still probably never invest in a business in one of those areas besides GameStop, because I feel like GameStop's much more than just like trading cards, but yeah. The only thing they could do with trading cards to give it like a quote unquote use case is if they did like fractional ownership or something like that. But even then, it's only a use case for the person who owns it, really. Or PSA makes their own, like, if it's even possible, like their own trading card game, and you can scan in your PSA card into the game. I guess I could maybe see that, but I don't know. I cards are kind of whack, and PSA is kind of whack. I watched a video. I mean, I think we watched it on stream of some dude getting completely scammed by PSA. Completely ruined his like $100,000 card and tried to give him like like that's shady as fuck, bro. How you gonna ruin some dude's card and then try to like put the blame on him and try to make him sign like a NDA basically? What's up, Ruben? Yeah, scummy company, it seems like. Like the idea of scanning cards to use in game, especially like a Pokemon game. Yeah, exactly. And then, have like a trading aspect within the game that's like linked with the digital vault. So you could, trade your cards immediately to someone else's vault. I mean, that would definitely create like a weird, like CSGO gambling type thing where people are trying to get real world money out of their digital assets, but that's already kind of a thing as well. Yeah, they also need to make it like they need to make it easier to sell cards out of the digital vault, especially with like all the crime that's going on. Like you need to be able to have like a little display, like like your phone or like an iPad that has your digital vault on it, and people can like scroll through and see your digital, or even just like a QR code that you could scan and people could scroll through your digital vault. Like there needs to be something like that so people can stop getting fucking robbed of all their physical Pokemon, having 100 grand of Pokemon in a store that you can literally hold like 10-20 grand in a handful. Like, it's obvious why people are getting robbed and stores are getting broken into. So there needs to be like a easier way to like sell them through the digital vault or something, just because it would be safer for a lot, everyone, honestly. Even have like a verified payment system through the vault somehow. There needs to be a lot of things. There needs to be a lot of things. Stores could house cards that customers can just walk in and scan to drive up foot traffic. Yeah, exactly. And you could scan it, buy it right there. Go straight into your vault. There's a fat cat. I don't know where she went. Oh, she's back there. She loves this fucking minky blanket, bro. You can't really see her. She just lays on that fucking blanket all day. A weirdo. Nat Turner says the vision for the vault is Schwab. That'd be kind of interesting. Have like a stock market for cards, basically. That'd be interesting. Was she meowing? No, she was just meowing to let me know she was here. She just letting me know. Weird ass cat. You don't have to stream the interview, but you should watch it. I don't think I could watch it. Because I don't have Twitter. Oh, right here. Is this it? 1 day ago? Was it yesterday? If I can watch it without downloading Twitter, I'll watch it. I just hate Twitter, bro. I just hate it so much. It's the worst. It's literally the worst.
Nat to the stage. Here we go. Nat Turner, how are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
Doing all right. Thanks for hanging out today.
You bet. It's a nice little break from the normal.
Hopefully it sounds alright. I guess, is this on YouTube? I should record this for a stream clip, huh? I should record this for a stream clip, huh? How do I hide the chat? I don't want the chat. Oh, there. I guess we'll just do full screen. How long is this? An hour? That's fine. If you guys want to watch this, I'm down. I'll watch this. Make a stream clip out of it, I guess. Is he drinking? I think he's drinking sparkling water. It sucks that it's an hour long, but Turner talks shit about crypto seems up your alley. Oh shit. Well, I guess we'll watch this then. It sounds like you already watched it though, so that sucks for you. You gotta watch it again. How you been, Kristen? What have you been up to, bro? Oh, Bruno. Fuck. Sorry. Bruno. My bad. My bad, bro. My bad.
To the stage, here we go. Nat Turner, how are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
Doing all right. Thanks for hanging out today.
You bet. It's a nice little break from the normal.
Can you see all the action? Can you see all the comments and so forth?
Yeah.
That's cool. That's great. Thanks for hanging out. It's so much fun.
You bet. Thanks for having me.
I like how Nat Turner looks like he just woke up. It's like, I gotta do this interview with Larry. Oh, man. Waiting for summer. Fair enough. It's been nice here. It's been nice here.
We got together a couple months ago, I think, at one of my portfolio companies, US Mobile's office, and we were talking about all sorts of things. And I was like, that was so much fun. You've been like a collector your whole life. You're now running Collectors, which is, as everyone knows, is the parent of PSA. And I just thought you had such a cool background. So maybe you could just tell us, for those who don't know, a little bit about Collectors, and then a little bit about your journey into running the company.
Sure. Yeah. So Collectors, we bought the company a little over 5 years ago. It was a very small public company, founded in 1986 in Southern California as a coin grading business, which I'm actually a collector of as well. Graded coins.
I didn't know that. I didn't know Collectors started out as a coin business. I didn't know that. 2 minutes in and I already learned something. Good suggestion. Good suggestion here.
In 1991, they launched the first trading card authentication business called PSA, Professional Sports Authenticators. And I think they went public in year 2000. And kind of for 21 years, we're a very small public company, like under 200 million market cap sort of thing.
Wow.
But they did it. Let me see if I have an example. Actually, I do. So they did it because on the back of their slabs, I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah, I can see it.
They put their ticker, and it legitimized the grading service. This is an old ticker, old slab with the ticker on it. This is not a new slab that we recently graded, but it was really smart because it, as a collector, you're like, well, where should I send my card? To this rinky-dink company or to the one that's publicly traded? And so, they got a lot of credibility by being a public company. And so they launched several other things during that period of time, but over the preceding, what would be 21 years, coin grading was actually the biggest business until like 2015. And then around 2015, I believe, I wasn't in the business then, cards and PSA, surpassed coin grading, and it hasn't really looked back. But fast forward to today, we authenticate and grade, I think over 20 different things: comic books, magazines, autographs, coins, like I said, banknotes, trading cards, game used bats, original photographs. We photo match jerseys and game used items, shoes, etc. it's a really expansive thing. We have a big vaulting platform where you can store your collectibles. We have all sorts of things helping you monetize or borrow against, get liquidity from your collectibles. So yeah, it's a
What does he mean by that? I've never seen anything where you could make money from your collectibles. Literally, I've never seen that.
it's a kind of a collectibles ecosystem now, if you will. So
Yeah, it was this public, almost micro cap company, and
micro cap.
and you guys bought it. One thing you said to me when we were hanging out was, you spend time collecting every day. It sounds like.
Oh my God, yeah.
Tell me more about it. That's crazy. That's awesome.
Yeah, since I was 5. Here, actually, I have one of them. When I was 5 years old, I started making trading cards, and I would send them to.
Nice.
I would like design them and write, and then I would send them to the trading card companies saying, I think you should make these, But no, I started collecting really young, and I basically never stopped. And so a lot of kids stopped in the 90s. I was born in the mid 80s, and trading cards had a bad couple years in the early 90s with junk wax, it's called. They overproduced tops in these companies, but I basically never stopped. I mean, I've probably spent 3 to 4 hours, maybe more, every day since 1991. Like the whole 10,000 hour thing, I'm in like a million. just sports cards. I messed with Magic the Gathering a little bit. I still do, and then coins, but predominantly basketball, baseball.
That's so boss, bro. That's crazy to be doing something for that long. What a boss. What a boss. I love that. I'm somewhat of a collector myself. I collect GameStop shares.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, it's like what we bought the company because I went home for COVID and was staying with my parents, with my wife and kids, and my mom wheeled down the my childhood collection. She's like, get this stuff out of my attic, basically. And I was looking for something to do next, and business wise, and I for years said I wasn't going to mix business with my hobby, which was trading cards. But I was like, this is actually what I love. And so PSA was publicly traded. Like I said, it was the only really accessible business that you could buy, and technically, so that's why I went down that path.
So it's not like you were just looking for a general good buy in the public markets, because you come from a tech background. You're like, I want a collectibles business. I love this stuff.
I love this stuff. And I talked to all the companies, Beckett and all these ones at the time. And I'm like, if it's not PSA to start with, I'm not going to do it. Because to me, as a collector, I had all these non-collector friends who were going to help and invest and stuff. And I was like, it's literally the only option. I'm sorry. Like I literally told them I have tens of thousands of PSA cards. It was to the point where had we bought a different company, I still would collect PSA cards. And so I'm like, it's just, sorry, it is what it is. And so, yeah, we had to get PSA, and we put an investor group together in late 2020. We did a tender offer. It failed. We did a second one. It thankfully went through. I mean, the business was doing great because of COVID. They had to like pre-release earnings, and the stock went from like in the 20s, and we closed at $91 a share, but by the end. So it was like 4x when we started. But I mean, it was COVID.
Is Collector still public? Does anyone know? I've never seen it, I don't think.
I think a lot of people were worried that COVID, collecting would lose interest, but thankfully it continued. A lot of people left the hobby in 2022, 23, but it's bigger now than it was then. So
got it. Maybe I'll post a
lot of people left 2022 to 23 because they lost all their money in crypto. And basically everything got so clapped at that time.
A question from the audience here, because it relates to a question I was going to ask. Collectibles markets often seem driven more by cultural identity and narrative than traditional economics. What forces actually turn an object from a hobby item into a lasting cultural value? And for the people who may not understand, like Pokemon, which is, been quite an asset over the years, like why is that, and why do certain things have sort of a lasting store of cultural value versus other things that don't?
So I have a strong opinion on this. So in my opinion, anything collectible driven is nostalgia based, and not all things, but the most powerful things. And one of my favorite movies is Hook. And, it's like I'll internally write it all the time, like never grow up. And, when you're my age, our age, you want to be a kid again. We all want to be a kid again. We want to do the things that make us happy. And you were always happiest generally when you were a kid. And, you look at your kids, it's like they're incredibly happy when they're playing with their cards or their dolls, with toys, whatever it is. And so when you take a kid like me in 1991 and you fast forward 35 years and you're like, okay, you have disposable income now. You didn't when you were 5 or 6 years old. These kids grow up and they have, money to spend. And, my dad probably wanted gold bars, and, that's the dream when you grow up, to diversify. But kids these days, they're
Ew, diversify? Gross. I don't diversify.
buying trading cards, they're buying comic books, they're buying things that are nostalgic and also a store of value, which authentication and grading has really legitimized and made real. And so we have this thing here we talk about, it's the rule of 25, which is that if you have an asset, fast forward 25 years, that's when it's going to start maturing into a real nostalgic collectible. Values will actually go down for it. Like, look at a vintage car. Like, a car that's released will go down in value for a number of years. At some point, it's going to be considered a vintage car. And it's going to be because the kids that thought that car was cool at the time grew up and are like, hey, I want that Corvette or Camaro from, and the same thing happens in trading cards. And so if you look, why is Pokemon going crazy right now? Or started 2 years ago? It's because it came out in 1999 in America. I think Yu-Gi-Oh is going to be the next thing in trading cards.
Whoa, Nat Turner saying Yu-Gi-Oh? Wow. Huh, that's interesting. That is interesting. I get his point, but how come a lot of vintage stuff doesn't really gain as much value as a lot of the new stuff? So I get his point, but a lot of the hype's on the new product.
It came out in the early 2000s. It's not yet 25 years old. It will be soon. And we see that in our submissions.
Oh shit! So it's not even 25 years. Okay. Well, I mean, I guess it technically is. I just don't feel like you're seeing the same appreciation on vintage as you've seen on a lot of these new products, but whatever. I'll stop interrupting the interview.
Sports cards, you go back 25 years, like we think 2002, 2003 cards are going to start popping off, just because the kids that were kids then are now,
So my friend,
it's a theory. It hasn't been studied, but we see it in our data. So
that's fascinating. My friends always ask me, all right, so what's the next thing?
Just go back 25 years.
And you have to, so it's not new. You have to go back to what's old. So like I'm in the sweet spot. I should just think about what I cared about as a kid. That's really, now tell me about it. So there's let me pressure test a little bit.
It's not always right, but it's generally right.
If the zone is what was sort of nostalgic to you when you were younger, there might be multiple things. Is there something that makes one nostalgic item less likely to be culturally valuable now than another item? Like, is there some screen there? Like you're saying Yu-Gi-Oh may be the next thing because
it may not be.
It might not be. But how would you think about that?
Well, yeah, so you got to also factor in things like production levels. So like, back, I'll give you an example, in the 80s, which is not nostalgic for me, but it is for others, the cards were massively overproduced. Look at Beanie Babies. That's probably another good example. The manufacturer basically ruined, the scarcity, if you will, of that collectible, which is at the end of the day important for collectibles. Like, you can't make 20 million of something when only 1 million people care about it. And so that it has happened, like Beanie Babies, junk wax baseball cards from the 90s, late 80s, early 90s. I can't think of a good example of that in the 2000s other than Beanie Babies, but I'm sure they exist. Pokemon was not crazily produced in the early late 90s, early 2000s. Like that's one reason why that vintage Pokemon is so valuable. It's like there's really not that much of it. And most collectibles, when they come out, they're not massively overproduced. But I think that's something you got to factor in. Obviously, with athletes, you have to factor in careers and reputations and that kind of thing. But yeah, in a broad level, like at a sport level or a category level, I think you just look at the manufacturing.
I feel like there's I don't know if this is, you're way more expert than I am.
What is a pog? What do you guys talk, like a pretty ass white girl? I don't know what you guys are talking about, bro. I think that was before my time. I don't know what pogs are.
But sometimes I feel like the iconic players in my generation when I was a kid, say Ken Griffey Jr., the relative value to Drake May overnight, it's like, it doesn't seem right. It seems like Drake's a rookie plus, and Ken's one of the best ever. And yet it seems like to me, sometimes the great players actually lose value relative to the newer players who everyone knows. Is that fair?
Honestly, I don't think it's that they're losing value. Like King Griffey, I can pull it up, but King Griffey cards can pretty much guarantee you have gone up over time.
Yeah.
I think it's that there's more people, there's more kids collecting Drake May and new guys because there's more card collectors today. And that's all it is. And cards at the end of the day there's no what's the right way to describe this? Drake May is not a stock on the New York Stock Exchange with a limited number of shares.
Yeah.
Right? He's got, Topps produces and Panini historically has produced, a lot of cards of his. And there were a fixed quantity produced in his rookie year, but there's more cards ever created every year. And so, the people who want to speculate on Drake May as a asset, as if it were a stock, as if his career was a stock, are doing so in a confined, way, meaning like, the cards that were, I forget his rookie year, last year, I guess.
Last year.
Yeah, I mean, like that's what's happening is you just have a lot of kids who they want to watch the players they're speculating on. And, I agree. Like you can, Peyton Manning, who's a bona fide Hall of Famer, won 2 Super Bowls, is probably, his rookie cards are worth less than than
Drake May.
Yeah. Yeah. So Ken Griffey cards in the last year are up 52.08%.
Really? Okay, there you go. I stand corrected.
Not that he's lost value.
Shit, man, that's insane. I'll Google it after this interview.
It's that the store value thing is real. Like there's more kids collecting Drake May than King Griffey. So.
Okay, someone was bound to ask this question, so I'm just going to ask it. And it's just like picking it from your children, I know. But what is your favorite card? Do you have one or?
Yeah, I probably do. So the first card I ever got was a 1975 Topps Hank Aaron number 660. My dad got it for me at a card show or card shop on a business trip. He brought it home. It's like a PSA 2. I've never gotten it graded, but I still have that one. Hank Aaron is my dad's favorite player and was mine. Obviously, I didn't see him play, and he retired in 1976, I think. But I have his rookie card in a PSA 10, which has got to be probably my favorite card. And then I would say after that would be my Michael Jordan Precious Metal Gems green, even though it's an altered copy. There's only 10 of them in the world, and one guy I think has 4 or 5 of them. So I'm like one of the only people who has one that this one guy doesn't have. Jordan was grew up in Houston, but my favorite team, like everyone was, the Bulls. Rockets because I lived in Houston, but watching Jordan, and so Jordan's my main PC, the person I collect the most. So I'd have to throw in a Jordan card in there too. But the Hank Aaron probably above that.
Is there like the preeminent Jordan collectible in all of them?
Trading card?
Sure.
PMG green. Yeah, for
PMG
sure.
Green. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Well, in terms of value, but his rookie card, I'd say most people would say I'd rather have the rookie card because a lot of people don't know the PMG green card. It's not his rookie card. It's 1997, which is like his 13th year, but which is it came out. That's the year the final championship, right? But no, I think if you ask like the general population, they'd say his rookie card, but his rookie card, there's 300 plus PSA 10s because it was actually from that kind of like mass produced era. It's still a $200,000 card, but which is insane, but for the population that it has, but it's, not even close to being his most valuable card.
Got it. Fascinating.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'll let you read this.
Oh boy.
So this is talking about you're on social, you're talking to people, which I
Yeah.
think is cool, by the way. I think that's how it should be done, but tell us more about that.
Yeah, well, I deleted Twitter or X, whatever, and Instagram from my phone because it got a little crazy how time I was spending on it. So
He got tired of people telling him to buy shares. It's so funny, bro.
I only use it when I'm on my work computer. But yeah, I think the card community, I mean, I'm part of the card community, and the card community truly lives on social, Instagram. And I mean, I recognize a lot of these people's names and from it. And, I go back, I've been on the forums in trading cards since the 90s.
Yeah.
And, for better or for worse, I've engaged with, we're all over the world, the card collecting community, and social media is the way we all communicate. And I actually learn a lot from people's experiences, which they're not shy to share on Twitter mostly. And it helps. Like, I'll be honest, there's a lot of trolling and fake things, like people about stuff. I ask for an order number, I look into it, and the order doesn't exist, or they're completely lying about situations. That's really been unfortunate and annoying. I think there's a lot of paid, people that just want to try and create whatever social negative sentiment. But the true collectors, like if I can tell that you're having a real problem, and like you are a collector and a real customer, and have like an actual issue, it's the fastest way to resolution. We do have a very large customer base and customer support team, and unfortunately we don't always get it right. It's slow. We know that. We're trying to fix it. And if there's something that I can like quickly fix, I try. And almost more importantly, if there's something I can notice that I'm like, all right, this is like a systematic problem or a code fix or something, let's I'll forward it to the team, and like we'll fix it. Not just for that one customer, but for everybody.
On that note, I guess
What
it does take a long time to get a card graded. Why is that? And what's going on behind the scenes?
We get on an average day, we're getting sometimes twice as many cards in for grading than we actually have capacity to grade. Grading is a very it's both technology and human, involved. It's not just simply like looking at a card and grading it. There's like 12 plus teams that are involved to make one graded trading card. We have to research the card. We have to image the card. We image the card twice, before and after grading. You have to grade the card. Multiple graders grade every card. You've got, it's just, there's a lot of,
See, I didn't know that. That takes away a lot of people's like negative views on PSA, because a lot of people have this idea that one person grades the card, and whether that person's having like a good or bad day, that's gonna reflect your grade. But he just said in this interview that multiple people grade one card, so there you go. That's good to know.
There's a lot that goes into it, and hiring's hard. We use AI for a lot of things. It's made it a lot faster. No one should give us credit for this because it's still slow, but we grew our grading capacity, I think, almost 40% last year, which is, if you could understand, you haven't seen it yourself, but like the number of teams that had to expand to make that happen was tremendous. Like our team did a great job, but demand grew like 100%. So, that's the reason. I mean, our backlog, it's really a problem. We've tried to control that through extending turnaround times and raising price. We don't love to do either of those things, but we at one point we were running out of physical space to store the backlog.
Yeah, they've raised price a lot. I think when GameStop first started being able to grade cards, it was like $25. Now it's like 35, I think. That's wild. What's up, Hugh G? Card has been with PSA since January 10th. 2 months. That's to be expected, I feel like.
We literally don't have space in some of our offices to store the cards. And the last thing we want to do is suspend service levels, because then people can't get their cards graded at any level, right? And at any price. And so, yeah, it's that's why it's hard.
Awesome. Yeah, I get it. You guys have you've acquired a couple of graders in the recent years, SGC, Beckett. Beckett was like the one that I grew up reading Beckett. Tell us about that. Like, what's going on there? You gonna buy every grader? What's the plan?
No. So for us, we said this when we bought SGC, we needed access to vintage graders. They still have an awesome team that predominantly specialized in vintage card grading, which is probably the hardest thing. You basically go to school to learn how to be a vintage card grader.
Oh, wow.
Basically, we have our own university for it. It's not an actual degree like numismatics, but it should be. And so anyway, we did that, and
Damn, getting into card grading, that'd be kind of like a clutch career path. We'll have to look into that after the interview.
it's actually, we have a huge office in Florida now where we're both grading PSA cards and SGC cards in the same office, separated, but we've been able to leverage their team while also keeping SGC around. Beckett was a similar thing. It's like they are actually the opposite. They have a very strong modern grading team, and we want Beckett to be. We actually joke like make Beckett great again. It had some issues with its over the last, I would say 5-6 years in execution, and we really needed to, frankly, inject a shot of life into that brand. And so we're investing a ton into the Dallas office, both for Beckett but also for PSA. We already had an office in Dallas, for PSA, mostly for ticket grading.
Yeah.
But we're going to have PSA grading there too. It's a lot easier to hire in a market when you have multiple product offerings, teams. Like you just have more places you can put people who are interested in working for you.
When would I? Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
When would I send something into PSA versus Beckett? What would you advise?
It's a whole different concept. So Beckett provides subgrades on the label. Here I have one right here. So on the top here of this card, you can see centering, edges, corners, surface.
Yep.
So and the autograph separate, which we do too. But
Yep.
I always tell people, if you like the subgrades, it's not something PSA does. It's not something they'll ever do at PSA. That's the number one reason people is, they love the transparency, if you will, of the 4 different characteristics being on the card. Some people like the holders better at Beckett than ours.
Yeah.
Which is fair too. Some people think they do I would say a better job on prices in the market for thicker cards, which can be true. You wouldn't send a vintage card to them. That's when you'd send a PSA or SGC. What I tell folks is just research on Card Ladder or somewhere else of if you think your card's going to be, say, a 9 or a 10, like which grading company will get you the best price?
Yeah.
If your intention is to sell a card. If you're going to keep the card, then I go back to which holder is more aesthetically pleasing? Do you like subgrades? Do you not? Like those are the kind of questions. And also pricing. BGS pricing's different. It's actually higher on the lower end of cards and cheaper for the higher end cards. So that's another factor too.
A question on grading video games and how it needs access to playing them.
Yeah,
man, your office must be amazing. You got
what a good question. What a good question.
Lots of stuff.
I got everything here. So I'm not a gamer. I wasn't allowed to growing up. However, I really love games. This is an old Wada case, but like a Jack Nicklaus. Original.
Dude, that's sick.
And then Tetris was the one game I had. I snuck a Game Boy into my.
Who graded
life.
Nice.
So obviously this is not Game Boy. So video game grading is actually expanded. It had a downturn for a couple of years, but we've rebranded it to PSA Games, under the PSA grading brand. This used to be WADA, which is We Are the Authority. This is the company we acquired that did
WADA, huh? We're 25 minutes in.
Game grading. But yeah, it's a really cool market. I mean, I think the only issue with it is that they're big and bulky and you can't stack them. I have, like in the same space, I can have these 2 games. I could probably have 300 graded cards. So it's just harder to amass a big collection, just physically constraints wise. But yeah, I mean, the prices are really have come back. There was a downturn there for a bit, but there's a lot of gamers, kids growing up, they probably replaced trading cards there for a while. Maybe I'm sure it's still bigger than trading cards. But.
Speaking of adjacent categories, do you authenticate Hot Wheels, or is there anything you don't authenticate today that you think should be authenticated?
Our COO collects Hot Wheels. He's been trying to get us to do that for years. No, we don't do Hot Wheels. Three-dimensional things are hard. We messed around. Sorry, I'm going to keep grabbing stuff. But
all good.
We messed around with Funko Pops like this.
Yeah.
We discontinued it. It didn't really make sense to the community. Like the secondary prices weren't strong, and to be honest, it's just not a popular thing anymore. Pops.
So interesting, bro. This is actually shout out to Grady. Thanks for suggesting this. I probably would have never watched this if you didn't start talking about it.
We've looked. This is actually kind of cool. So this is the last Beanie Baby, the end.
Wow.
And it's a reminder that collectibles they can come to an end.
Does that make it more valuable, or is that?
I don't know. I'm not a Beanie Baby guy,
okay.
But we've talked about, the reason I show you this is we've talked about doing toys and figurines, and like Star Wars figurines, I think is one we'd look at. You got to look at things that have counterfeiting, like that people value a third party, in the middle. And you got to look at things where people judge them based on, like, there's a price difference for a really nice condition one or not.
Yeah, I feel like action figures would be really good. A Seinfeld Pops. You got Kramer, bro.
Believe it or not, like, not all things are like that. I think one that we should look at, and we have looked at, is like watches. The problem with watches and sneakers and things like that is that you actually buy them and a lot of people wear them. Like, I'm not going to wear this video game. Like, maybe I want to play it, but I can just go buy a GameStop, buy a different, copy.
Shout out GameStop.
We launched comics and magazines last year. It's gone really well. You can look at like vinyl. There's a good company doing vinyl music. But there's a lot of things.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'll give you another one. Daniel's a great guy, by the way.
Daniel.
It's just a broad question. Next 10 years, maybe give us a little prediction. Maybe that's something that's might be surprising to those of us who aren't as close to you on how this is all going to unfold.
If I knew that, man, hopefully it stays, a very rooted and has a strong foundation in true collecting. It's getting a little, speculative and for my liking, but I am not the judge and jury of, how people can and should collect. That's everyone can do their own thing. But, there's a lot of, flipping. They rip packs and instantly sell the card. I mean, I did some of that too as a kid, but like, I wish, I hope people get back into like true set collecting with binders and, like all that. My kids are doing it, but like, hopefully, hopefully there's millions of those. But I am very bullish on it because, Fanatics in particular is investing a lot. Upper Deck too, I know the Pokemon company has, they sponsored the freaking Super Bowl, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they're putting a lot of emphasis, those three companies, into growing the hobby through new collectors, getting celebrities involved, athletes, getting them collecting. I don't know. I'm very bullish. I mean, I think we just have to watch, like we were talking about before, overproduction. It's so hard to define what that is, especially in a market that's growing rapidly. Like, seemingly you can't print enough cards right now. There's so much demand, from what I understand. Like, you just look at GameStop. I mean, like the lines for when Pokemon has releases,
can't keep it in stock.
You can't keep it in stock, and like it's a good thing. That means that people want it. I think if Pokemon printed twice as much, it would still have the same problem. There's a line there. I don't know where, and I'm not in charge of any of those companies, but and they're all focused, I'm sure, on not destroying their franchises. But I'm very bullish. It's become a if I had to make one prediction, it's becoming a true store of value. I'm not saying it's crypto. It's not. It's physical. It's even better. I'm anti-crypto. I think but it's
Yes, anti-crypto. One of us. One of us. Crypto sucks. No one likes Seinfeld. I'm old. I love Seinfeld. No soup for you. No soup for you.
it's a physical store of value like gold.
Yep.
So.
Fair enough. Interesting question here.
Hmm.
Will collectibles trade like stocks in a brokerage style app?
We already have this. They must not know. The PSA vault is very. Our vision is Schwab, and it's you already can go in there and store cards and list them on eBay instantly.
That's not useful though. Nobody wants to pay fees on eBay, bro. We want to be able to sell directly to the person or whatever. So, which I believe you can. They do have the codes, but nobody wants to sell through eBay.
You can
buy them.
You can buy them and instantly in your account 2 seconds later. It's super cool. We don't have some things, the easy things like portfolio views and how much your portfolio went up today versus that stuff it's coming. And the answer is yes.
That's cool. This is an interesting psychological question of what's more satisfying, like finding your chase card in a pack, buying it, or trading for it.
That's an awesome question. I've experienced all of these. There's no better feeling than pulling a card out of a pack.
I think that's right.
Yeah, the problem. Very often. I won't do it again, but I have hundreds of unopened boxes near me, and then even more that I've opened where I've gotten nothing. And so, it's like the carcass of the box that I should never have opened. But it is fool's errand to do it. However, there's no better feeling than opening a box. I collect stuff mostly from the 90s and early 2000s, and I open boxes at least once a week from that era. I find them on eBay mostly. Actually, some are at GameStop. I've found some of the stuff in some of the stores, and man, once a year I'll pull. Actually, the other day, it wasn't even my box though. It was a friend of mine. We pulled a 1996 Platinum Portraits Michael Jordan out of a 1996 Metal Series 2 box. And we freaking lost our minds. Like we were screaming. My kids woke up. Like it was awesome. And it's like a $5,000 card, which is insane. Like we pulled and we put ourselves in our shoes in 1996. That we would have been losing our freaking minds back then.
That's awesome.
And by the way, we're 40 years old. That's awesome. Yeah. So anyway, that's got to be.
Man, I wish I loved something as much as this, bro. I wish I loved something as much as this. That's awesome.
Yeah, but for me, I set collect a lot, and finding a card that I needed for my set there's a huge relief. The problem with that, as soon as you find it, you're like, oh shit, what now? There's the chase is more important than or more fun.
Yeah, right.
Completion. So,
Star 85 or Fleer RC?
I think you mean Star 84. Star, yeah, 84 number 101 is the true rookie to me. Michael.
Got it.
He's talking about 86 Fleer is the well-known Jordan rookie, but he was drafted in 84, and 84-85 was his first season, and his first card technically is the 1984 number 101, which is an awesome card. It's the red border. It's not the greatest image. It's not a mass-produced set. There's people knock on it, but it's his first card. It's technically his XRC. According to Beckett, which is the definitive, in my opinion, guide for what rookie cards are. Yeah. Which cards are rookie cards, and we do grade them. I see someone asking. One of the things I made sure we did, we weren't grading them before with the company, before we bought it. And a few years ago, we invested a lot of time and research into, there's a lot of counterfeits out there. And we finally got comfortable with being able to accept them. So
can you talk a little bit about sort of the vault experience? My cards are vaulted with you guys, and there's a lot of pricing data and that you guys display. Some of that data is on, some of the population data I think is on eBay and so forth and other platforms. What goes in that pricing data? Is it reliable? How
No, it's not. It's not reliable.
should we think about it? How would you advise us to use the pricing data that's out there, and how should it not be used?
So the pricing data, it's there. If you hover over it, it'll give you a confidence score, like 1 through 5. A 5 confidence score, even a 4, even sometimes 3, I think very reliable. It's based on hard comps. Card Ladder in particular, which I have up on my screen here, they empirically, like, they believe in only giving you a price if there's at least been one direct comp, meaning that exact card and that exact grade from that exact grading company. All 3 of those things have to be true. And only then will they give you a comp. And that comp could have been from 2 years ago. What they do is they say, oh, is it a Michael Jordan card? Okay, Michael Jordan cards are up 116% in that period of time. And so they affect up that old sale by that index, because presumably all Michael Jordan cards move in a similar way, which I think is right. And what's funny is we built this entire machine learning model to predict price, not using their method. And their method was better. we disbanded. So Card Ladder is awesome. And I think you can trust it. When you go to like low confidence, like let's say the comp was from 12 years ago, you do need to, just do your own research and look and see if there's other copies available on eBay. And that's actually kind of one of the beautiful things of cards. It's not like stocks. There's more nuance to it, and like it's fun to like do this whole thing. But yeah, generally, if you have a high confidence score, I mean, I 100% would use that. I personally, like, if I ever sell a card, I decide what to list it for based on that data, and it's gotten really good, and it's only going to get better. I mean, with all the quantity and liquidity happening, I think we almost got to $500 million in sales as an industry digitally tracked last month, in the month of February. Wow. Mostly eBay, but like a lot of places, that's a lot of transaction data that's flowing into these systems now. So,
is there ever going to be a day where why can't cards just be graded with AI and happen like in store or whatever, just overnight? Is that going to happen?
You never say never, but trading cards are really complicated, and a lot of it is the physical touch, feel, sometimes smell of cards. And
really, sometimes the smell.
Sometimes, yeah, vintage, yeah. But on modern cards, you definitely can use computers more than you ever can or could have. And we don't talk about it a lot, but yeah, we use AI a ton for our grading process and research process, and we're going to use it more in the future. But I don't think we don't believe in a world where it's 100% today, just based on a few of the things I said earlier. We believe in an AI-assisted human grading approach, tech-assisted, where they're massively more efficient, but more importantly, as accurate and consistent as possible, because you have a tandem going with, we have hundreds of millions of cards now we've graded with historical data, images, annotated training data, and that does have value. And we have a massive physical library of counterfeit cards and trimmed cards and also altered cards that are in our offices, and we've high-res imaged those, and we compare, like the 84 Jordan we talked about, like our system actually catches those counterfeits, not humans. So
wow.
We don't talk about it all the time because it's not important. What people care about is the card and the holder, the grade is accurate, and that's what they care about. Actually, most people, if you actually ask true collectors, they actually don't want their cards graded by AI. They just want their card grade to be accurate as much as possible. They don't really want some giant, dump of data. They want to know the simple grade on top, and that the company stands behind it and it's accurate. And how you get there is up to you. That's your reputation. If you get it wrong, people are going to start paying less for the cards and those holders on eBay. So that's our belief.
Can you talk a little bit about like consistency in grading, and like, is it PSA 10 always a PSA 10, or people talk about there's variability, they break cards and so forth? What do you think about that?
I mean, it's at the end of the day, it's humans involved in the process. Our team does the very best they can. Every card is looked at by at least 2 or 3 people in the grading room. Do we get it wrong sometimes? Occasionally, and we have a review process. You can submit a card again through a review process where we look at it. We have a CRC.
Oh, you can?
Yeah, it's an official thing on our website. Yeah, and we do our best. I mean, it's an opinion-based service. Our team gives the best opinion it possibly can at the time. The problem is sometimes new information comes to light in the future. Like, for example, what's the example? Like, there's a card out there where a dimple, for example, was part of the print design. and for like a year, the team, knocked the grade for that card, because of this dimple, and they were getting like the highest they would get would be like an 8, for example. Like, yeah, that's our fault. Like we didn't print the cards, but that's things happen, things come up. We have made it so much more consistent, and accurate over the last 5 years, even while growing the team. But we have work to do for sure.
Cool. Maybe at a general level, because there's only so much you can say about GameStop Power Packs, this whole means of trading or buying cards. Maybe you can talk generally about it.
Yeah, so I don't run Power Packs. There's a separate team, GameStop more than us. But yeah, that team, they buy trading cards, off of the open market, graded. I think a lot of them come from GameStop stores. Like people walk into stores and trade in or sell their graded cards. But yeah, that team, Power Packs, from what I understand, has been a great success thus far. The GameStop community has really embraced the concept of real cards but digitally ripped, and a lot of those people.
That's awesome, bro. That's good to know that it's more of GameStop in the Power Pack realm than PSA. It's GameStop's team. Pretty interesting. And also, a lot of the supply is coming from people selling their cards back or whatever.
People are becoming true collectors, we've seen, where they, pull a card on Power Packs and then they, start buying cards on eBay or, on GameStop, or they vault more cards or they grade more cards. Like it's turning on more collectors, which I think is awesome. But, the beauty of that model is that it's the cards aren't physically moved. And they are if you request them to be shipped home, but
right.
Most people are fine keeping them in their phones, if you will. They pull a card and, having it in the vault is good enough. And so, Power Packs then can, and other models like that, can make offers to those same cards, and without the cards having to be picked, packed, and shipped, can, go back into the ecosystem. Same with the cards on eBay. A lot of these cards are just in the vault.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's a really cool thing. But yeah, that team, part of their job, I'm sure, is making sure that there's enough cards for people to, like, I think the Lunar Pokemon packs, they got super close to running out of cards. And they had to like frantically, I know, because they came to us early on, how do we find more cards? The community, is into it. So yeah.
That's great. I think a good general question here is,
bro, running out of Lunar packs? Those are $2,500 a piece, bro. Holy.
Someone opens a pack of Pokemon in hard plastic, sends it out, gets a PSA 5. How do you preserve or take care of your card so it gets a better score or has a better chance of it?
Well, I think the biggest thing is pre-filter your cards. You really shouldn't mess with the cards. If there's a fingerprint or something, you can, use a microfiber cloth and but you don't want to be messing with the cards. So the reality is that card probably had like a surface issue or a chipping issue. There was something wrong with it. And, astute, and this is hard, this is part of why the hobby is fun, is, learning to know what cards are worth grading before you send them in is actually an art to it, and an experience. And like, buy yourself, I don't have one near me, but buy yourself a loop, it's called. Here, I have one. Which is like a magnifying, they look like this, and, buy yourself a.
Wait, let me see that again.
Oh, sorry, yeah. It's just a little mic.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, look at the corners and then learn how to tilt the card in the light and see if there's creases. Usually when you see a grade like a 5 or less, it's usually because of some sort of major surface issue. I just have to remind everyone, like, all the time, like, just because you pulled the card out of a pack does not mean it's a 10. Pack fresh does not mean 10. Cards had bad centering. Cards could have print defects. Cards could have gotten damaged in the pack. The number of times I've pulled a card, I'm like, this is incredible. And then it comes back 7, 6, 5, and you look, you're like, there's a print line, there's a whatever. manufacturers are arguably have a harder job than we do, printing millions and millions of cards. They're not all 10s, nowhere close. So yeah, Pokemon does a pretty good job of it though. The gym rates on modern Pokemon are like 60-70% sometimes out of sets. So meaning the
Oh, wow.
So yeah.
Okay, random question.
You would say hockey? Oh, like World Baseball Classic. We freaked out on the hockey game. We love hockey, my son and I. But Baseball Classic's awesome. The team, I think we play Venezuela tonight. It's gonna be great.
PSA vending machine selling slabs.
I don't think we're gonna. This is not really our ethos. There are companies that have vending machines. They're cool. I mean, I've seen them. There's one at JFK Airport. They're really cool.
Yeah, I would never expect PSA to do a vending machine. Maybe GameStop, but PSA seems like a digital business, not really physical. Although they do have those pop-ups sometimes, which is kind of cool.
We're not really. We've got so much going on. We're just trying to get cards back faster. So I don't think it's in the cards, no pun intended, for us at the moment. But if there are third-party companies that are experimenting with this stuff, if people like it, we're not. I mean, go for it. There were some. I think in Vegas there's some, in some hotels and stuff. But it's not something we're going to do anytime soon on our own.
No pressure, man.
Oh, all right, here we go.
Let's do it.
They're gonna open a pack. That's
not what people actually. Here, I got Pokemon too. Let's see.
Okay, cool. You're gonna show us the expert way of opening a pack.
Yeah, well, this is not what the people want, but I've got 1988. Yeah, Leaf. I've been trying to pull Nolan Ryan. These are old wax packs, so they're literally filled with wax. Yeah. But I've been trying to pull Nolan Ryan for a long time. Well, and one that would get a 10 because for my set. Let's see. I got literally nothing. Yeah, I should have brought a 90s basketball box because that's the real fun stuff. Tony Gwynn, that's cool.
Oh, that's cool. I'm a San Diego guy, Tony Gwynn's the best.
It's actually centered pretty well.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, the Leaf cards were pretty tough for centering, and then just because I know people love Pokemon, probably. So this is, I think, Mega Evolution. Yeah, Phantasmal.
Nice.
Flames. I have a box sitting over here on my desk, and every time I have a one-on-one, we open a pack, but we haven't gotten anything good. None of us. And the streak continues. Best card probably would be.
Nice.
That one, no good. Yeah, I'm not a Pokemon expert, but I do enjoy opening packs. Oh, I think I got something nice here. No, never mind. That's probably the nicest one.
Nice.
So nothing great. Oh, this is cool too. Nothing too rare. So
that's fun.
Yeah.
Never stops being fun. This was an interesting question. Have you personally graded cards?
Does that mean, do I submit cards or do I?
No, like you are the grader.
No, I am not a grader. I have not gone through the grading university, which is a requirement to be a grader.
Okay.
So no, the answer is no. However, I definitely am consulted on authentication of 90s cards, mostly basketball, only because as I mentioned before, have definitely 10,000 plus hours of experience in identifying real from fake. Just because as a collector, I know others know way more than me, but serial numbers, autographs, just things to look for. There's a lot of issues from the 90s with employees walking out of the back door with cards, uncut sheets being, Fleer Skybox went bankrupt in 2006 and all their assets were liquidated on the courthouse steps and they got out and some bad people have access to them. So that kind of, I definitely, have helped on 90s, third or fourth opinions on does this card look real or not? But no, not on grading. I wish. I'm not, I don't think I have the eye for that.
What do you think about Logan Paul selling his
card? The Illustrator. I am not a big Pokemon collector personally, so I do not. I mean, what I do understand of that card, I think there's like 30. I forget 37 of them that got out or were supposed to be, from the original. It was, I think, a contest where like you could submit, and you were called an illustrator, right, as one of the designers back then. Yeah, and I don't know, I'm not an expert, but the card, I think Logan Paul brought a lot to the table with marketing the card, and they did a great job. I mean, I don't know if that card's worth that much money. Well, first of all, no card is worth they're all pieces of cardboard, so they're only worth what
Damn, that's crazy coming from Nat Turner, bro. That's crazy coming from Nat Turner.
Yeah,
just seem like gold, I guess. But it's the Honus Wagner, if you will, of Pokemon. So for that reason alone, like any price doesn't surprise me. But is it going to go up? I have no idea. I hope it does. I'm sure it will. There's a lot more people who collected Pokemon in 1999 than people realize. Meaning, like when they grow up and we're seeing this is back to the original point. The guy who bought it from is our age. It's like the same thing from that we talked about.
That's funny.
Yeah, but it was incredible.
So this is a good general question. Hulkster has his own strategy, but what's your advice on strategy for investing and collecting cards? Like, what are the angles to take?
So I've done this my whole trading card career too. I picked some good ones and I picked some bad ones. I picked LeBron in 2003. That was a good one. I picked Gerald Green in 2005. That was a bad one. I picked John Morant in 2019. That was not so good. And I picked Jordan, but that was way after he was already good.
Yep.
Yeah, I tell people all the time, collect what you like. That's what matters the most. And personally, it's really fun to, gambling. Sports betting is to me, it's like you're betting on like a game. Like that's I don't know, not as fun to me. If you put 1% of your net worth into a player's career, it's like going long on a stock. Going long on a player is a lot more fun to me personally than, so his strategy of like picking a player, it's like going long on a stock. Yeah. I think that's cool. And like, I personally have done that, I don't know, 7 or 8 times. I probably like batting 500 on that, but I've had some other really bad ones.
There's a bunch of questions generally on blockchain and cards and tokenization and where that's all going to play in trading cards.
So we have this rule here, or rule of value called start with why, which I always have to remind people too. It's like, what problem are you solving?
Yeah. And
like, why do you need to do this? And like a lot of these blockchain things, people are like, well, just because it's blockchain, and like, because chain of custody. I'm like, well, we already do that. And there's not a problem with the current model that I can think of. And then I hear people like, well, I want to trade them on OpenSea as NFTs. I'm like, okay, but they're already traded every day, $500 million. Like, do we really want those traded on no? Like, I don't know. No one's really been able to convince me, at least, that blockchain is for lending. No, still no. Like the cards are in the vault. Like there's no real use case for trading cards. There will be, sure. But like, as we stand here right now, like, it doesn't solve a real problem. So I don't know, maybe I'm thick-headed about it, but like.
Oh, I love that answer so much. It's the best answer you could have give.
It doesn't do anything.
Now, what about collateralizing your cards and issuing loans against them, since they are a store of value?
You don't need blockchain for that. Like,
well, this is separate from blockchain.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I mean, this would be a good idea. We're doing this. PSA has a thing called Collectors Financial Services. PSA Capital is another word for it. But we already provide liquidity. If you have cards vaulted, we don't syndicate those things out where you could, buy bonds or whatever, on cards.
Yeah, right.
You can 100% get liquidity on stored assets today. There are other companies that do that too, but because we have a vault and because your like the brokerage account, like we talked about, accessing liquidity for your cards without selling them is definitely a why. Like people want that, and we provide it, as do other companies. I think it's a lot of power in that in the future for sure.
I've never heard of that. What do they mean? What do they mean they provide it? I've never seen that. Never heard of it. That's cool. I mean, it gives, cards value, but I've never heard of that.
Yeah. There's been some questions around like, where's the Vault PSA Vault app going? When can we trade in it? Do other types of transactions?
Well, we have a very tight partnership with eBay, which I personally think is the best source of buying and selling out there. It has been since I was a kid. Staying power is just incredible. And, I think, personally, that's where you get the highest prices. That's where and so our efforts are around providing liquidity through eBay. As far as trading, we have gotten that request quite a bit. We are soon going to launch peer-to-peer transferring in the vault. I don't personally believe in like helping people decide what to trade. I think that's like the romantic part of cards is like do that through Instagram DMs. And then once you figure out a trade, then do the P2P transferring. We can help be like an escrow agent a little bit where it's like, hey, these cards are in the escrow account, they're in purgatory until the other party releases their cards. Like we can do cool stuff like that to bring trust to the process. But, going further than that, like this card's worth this, your card's worth this, like, let people figure that out, through DMs, and then we'll do the infrastructure.
Yeah, that's what I want to see. I want to see peer-to-peer transactions and easy trading. Also, it'd be easy to buy and sell, and you wouldn't have to use eBay in that scenario. But obviously, PSA would still take a fee, most likely, for being the quote-unquote escrow agent or whatever.
Awesome. All right, I said I'd keep you for about an hour, so we're almost there. Like any parting comments, thoughts? This has been so much fun. If not, I don't know if you can share this. There was one story we ended our conversation on, which was fun last time, about you playing golf with Michael Jordan, which is pretty cool.
Oh, no, yeah. He's a big golfer and bets a lot, from what I understand.
Got it. Thanks for hanging out with us. It was so much fun.
Yeah.
And we'll catch up again sometime soon. All
Okay.
right. Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Take care. Bye.
Oh, that was awesome. Good suggestion. I liked that. And it's a good stream clip. I'm deleting your message, bro. You're weird. Yeah, you. Nah, I just think you're weird. I don't know. I don't, I think there was a time maybe I thought it was cute, but not anymore. Unfortunately. That's fair. Still weird, though. Still weird. I think Pokemon's interesting. I wouldn't say I love it, though. There's some people in here who definitely who definitely love Pokemon, but not me. I just think it's an interesting thing. Pokemon and crypto are kind of in the same category, I would say. Maybe Pokemon I put on a little bit higher of a pedestal, but Pokemon and crypto are both kind of trash. You're gonna get butthurt about that? Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. Like I said, I think there was a time when I cared, but I just don't care anymore, and I'm sorry. All right. What are we gonna do for 40 minutes while we wait for this? Post earnings analyst call? What's that? Is that the same thing as the earnings call? It's weird. Oh. Wait. 6 p.m.? What the hell? I've never seen that. Post earnings analyst call. That's new, isn't it? I don't think I've ever seen that. Oh, they had one last time. What was this about?
Thank you for standing by, and welcome to Micron's post-earnings analyst call. At this time, all participants are in a listen-only
post-earnings analyst call. On the call with me today are 10Qs for discussion of risks that may affect our
of DRAM this quarter. I guess as part of that, did the non-HBM DRAM bits grow sequentially in this quarter? And how...
Isn't that just the Q&A session they do every earnings call? I don't think there's anything special about that. But I don't know. Very weird. Well, I don't know what we're gonna do for 35 minutes. Damn, the market's still clapping. Pretty exciting. Amazon says U.S. Postal Service walked away at 11th hour. Nothing there. Pokemon scammer arrested for using bags of paper to buy 320K worth of cards. What a joke, man. Afro Man's in court over viral police raid music video. Has anyone ever seen this video? That video, he made a whole song about that, bro. He made a literal song. You've never seen that, bro? Afro, like, I forget exactly when it was, like a couple of years ago, Afro Man made a song, and it's just his, security footage of, the SWAT team just destroying his house, and he's just rapping over it. Did you have to traumatize my kids? Or something. Oh, man. What's the song called? Oh, yeah, will you help me repair my door? I wish I could watch this on stream, bro. It's so funny, bro. If you've never watched this, you gotta go watch Afro Man, Will You Repair My Door? Holy fuck, it's so funny, bro. It's actually hilarious. But I guess he's in court for it now. Wild, wild. I probably can't play this. But yes. It's just his security footage and the police are just fucking shit up, dude. Like there's one clip where he's like they're like throwing his CDs everywhere and shit. Right here. They're just destroying his CD. Like, bro, it's a crazy video, but definitely worth watching if you've never watched it.
Then they sue you, plague.
He did another song? Wait, he did another song? He did another song? No way, bro. I gotta watch the 3 days ago? Oh man, I wish I could watch this on stream. I wish I could watch that on stream. I bet that's fire.
So, you're claiming that is the defamation statement is that he said he had sex with your wife?
Yes.
Okay. And that's painted you in a false light?
It's caused tremendous pain in my life.
Wait, Afroman Day 2. Deputy claims Afroman singing about sleeping with his wife has caused him tremendous pain as grounds of defamation. No way, bro. No fucking way. Afroman defamation case has begun. Randolph L. Walters Jr. testified.
It's caused
singing about sleeping with his wife. That being labeled a thief has hurt his reputation. So far, all the deputies have claimed they do not believe everything they hear or see on the internet, and that they have all been called names unrelated to Afroman's songs. So many good clips. Bro.
I'll get to that. We have to go through false light first. So does it paint you in a false light?
Yes, that my wife is cheating on me with Mr. Foreman.
But we all know that's not true, correct?
I don't know.
I don't know! He says I don't know! He says I don't know. What the fuck? What the actual fuck, dude?
Wait, you don't know if your wife's cheating on you or not?
You want to go there?
No, I just want to ask that question because you said we don't know. I just
been with that woman since middle school.
I know.
I would hope she wouldn't. But you know what? Once somebody puts it out there for their fun and entertainment, it's out there. And it's a problem.
So it's something we cannot verify the truth of?
Damn. That prosecutor's fire.
thing that can be verified, true or false?
Ask your client.
Well, if that's the judge, I don't know if that's the judge or the prosecutor, but that dude, he's like, what? Afroman drops a banger before the lawsuit against him goes to court Monday in Adams County, Ohio. Afroman released batter ram hymns of the police whistleblower days before the lawsuit heads to court. Adams County sheriffs are suing Joseph Foreman for defamation. Oh, I can't wait to listen to that, bro. I can't wait to listen to that. That's fucking awesome. I feel bad for Afroman, but God, what a boss, bro. What a boss. He's probably rich as fuck, and he just doesn't care, dude. He's probably so rich. He probably doesn't give a zero fucks. Kraken pauses IPO due to uncertain market. That's terrifying. I'd be terrified if I was a crypto person seeing that. Did you have to traumatize my kids? PlayStation 3 just got an update. It's weird. Hubble catches a rare view of a comet crumbling. Can I see it? I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. Perplexity's Comet AI browser is now available for iPhones. Dev breaks down in tears when 4 years of work are rewarded with 250,000 earnings in a week. I don't know why people are so nice. Damn, this is that dude we saw who made 20 bands. He's up 250 now? That's that same guy? Yeah, that's that same guy. 250 bands, bro.
Okay, I'm looking.
He's already crying, bro. He's already crying. He hasn't even opened it yet. 250 bandos, bro. 250 bandos. Let's go. Why does it? I don't want to watch them kiss, bro. I don't want to watch them kiss. I don't know what game it is. Tangy HD. I think it's on Steam. Yeah. Some weird strategic tower defense. What a boss, bro. 250 bandos for that. What an absolute boss. What an absolute boss. Oh, you got mortgage data today? Yeah, rates are up again. So dumb. Mortgage applications are down a lot. Refinances are down a little bit, but still up. And yeah. RIP. Interest rate projection? What? That's new. Oh, I missed the press release. We were watching that freaking interview. Oh well. Maybe I'll watch it later. Damn, 250K for that. That's fucking sick, dude. That's pretty sick. Well, I don't know what we're doing for the next 25 minutes. I'm kind of annoyed that Kristen got butthurt about that, but whatever. I probably just shouldn't care. I don't know why I even care at all. I missed it. It was whatever. She just said some weird comment in the chat and I deleted it and called her out on it. But I'm the bad guy because I didn't find the comment cute, I guess. I'm the bad guy. It's always me. I'm always the bad guy in every scenario. Nah, I don't really know anything about Micron besides the last earnings call. But that was back in December, so I don't really remember too much about it. What's up, Isaiah? How you been, bro? I don't know. This is the last thing I'll say about this. It's just really annoying when you like someone for a really long time and then they put you in the position to where you just like stop caring and then you're the bad guy because you stop caring. I don't know. That's the last thing I'll say about that. I just think it's fucking dumb. Crazy stuff at work going down? Oh, really? I mean, you probably can't talk about it, but I would love to hear whatever you got to say if you can give us a little bit. If you can get us a little bit. Give us some tea, bro. Give us some tea. Change of direction. What, to the robots, I assume? It's all about autonomous robots now. I did see last earnings call that they were getting rid of the X and S manufacturing. And then I've heard something else that they're going to be completely changing those distribution lines or whatever you would call them into robots. So maybe that's what you're implying, but if not, then I don't know. Then I don't know. Pretty close. All right, cool. Yeah, not much more needs to be said then. I kind of already knew all that. I'm sure you have more details, but let's keep the people wondering, I guess, huh? Battle bots. Elon's gonna become a robot, bro. Change of direction. Elon's gonna become a robot. Elon bot. Beep beep boop. Tesla's gonna only go in reverse now. Yeah, Terminator mode. Tomato mode. Can you guys speed up the self-driving taxis? I hate Ubers. I'm trying to get a self-driving taxi, bro. The second you can buy one of those, I'm getting one. Maybe not the second, because they'll probably be overpriced as fuck. But I'm getting one of those eventually. I never want to drive again, straight up. I just want to get in the car and fucking kick my feet up. Have it drive me where I need to go. I'll be perfectly happy with never driving again. I'll be right back real quick. I'm back. I'm back. Appreciate everyone who's here. This is the slowest stream. Slowest stream. Most dead stream. It's all good though. But if you're here, I appreciate you. Unfortunately, I don't know what else to talk about going forward here. But the earnings will be here soon, I guess. Been streaming for over 2 hours and only 69 views. That is terrible. Usually you get about a view a minute. So this is the most dead this stream's been. The most dead this stream's been. Unfortunately. Unfortunately. Nice. I wish it was nice. 69 views for 2 hours is garbage. That's terrible. Micron's at all-time highs too. Damn. This is actually like one of the few stocks that isn't down from last earnings. It's almost doubled since last earnings. That's pretty impressive. Pretty impressive. One of the few stocks that's actually done well. Let's aim for 420 views. I mean, we'll see how Micron goes. I guess it just depends. There should be more people in here than last time. but there's also a lot more streamers. A bunch of people started copying what I was doing, which pretty much story of my life. Anytime I do anything, everyone just copies it and then ruins it for me. Story of my life. But who knows, maybe we'll get lucky. Maybe we'll get lucky. Got my childhood Poke binder. My mom found it over the weekend, reunited, and it feels good. Oh yeah, I did see that. He got a Kabuto. That's tight. Anything worth grading? I mean, probably not. But maybe. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Probably not. I feel like grading's kind of pointless, straight up, but who knows? Maybe you have something in really good condition in there. There's Milkway and Cheeto dust all over him. The Cheeto dust doesn't surprise me. Fucking Cheeto guy. Fucking Chester Cheeto over here. Like, I summon Pikachu! Pikachu, I choose you! I saw it on Pokemon. Ash says it. It ain't easy being fucking cheesy. First edition Kabuto, probably the best condition because who cared about that card? Never been touched. Yeah, well, I mean, if it's good enough, maybe grade it. I don't know. That's an expensive card right there. Pretty much any a lot of the first editions are expensive, even if they're in bad condition. Oh, not YouTube. We need eBay. God, I don't know how to type, apparently. Oh, never mind. It's not worth as much. It's still a $20 card, though. I think graded, it's worth quite a bit more. Yeah, I mean, potentially you should try to grade that. Even an 8's $50. I mean, if it looks good enough to grade, obviously. If you don't think it could at least get an 8, probably not worth it. Worth 150, worth more sentimental, so I sleeved everything up, put them in a new binder. Nice. That's dope. You color coordinate the binder, bro? 10 more minutes till the market closes. Oh yeah, did you guys see, I mean, I assume you guys saw this, but GameStop finally announced the earnings date. It's next Tuesday, March 24th. So, not very exciting, but will be cool to see what they did for the year, I suppose. We're going up. Very debatable. Very debatable. The stock is technically overvalued by like a little bit. But we'll see, I guess. We'll see. Guess it just depends how the market views the earnings. Am I going to stream it? Yeah, I'll stream it. I'll stream it. It's a song? Oh. Never heard it, I don't think. Don't think I've ever heard it. But I don't know. I'm not gonna put any weight on lagging data. We're almost 4 months into this year. We're finally getting the data for last year. It's not that interesting, honestly. I already have my expectations anyway, so pretty much already know what they're gonna report. Should be around sitting at around 6 billion in stockholder equity, close to 10 billion cash, adding up like the marketable securities and everything. They'll probably put more into marketable securities, most likely. Maybe. I mean, I guess we'll see. Maybe add a little inventory. I mean, hopefully they add crypto if they didn't sell it. But yeah, it's not gonna be that special, I don't think. The only way it would make it special is if they announced that they actually did the acquisition. But I don't see that happening. It's just going to be nothing, honestly. A bunch of people are going to get hyped up and excited and lose all their money on options, and then it's just going to be back to nothing. Think that'll be separate? Maybe. Guess it just depends if they did it last year or yeah, I don't know. Hope we don't see any Form 4s. Why? That mean that some big acquisition news is close. I guess. Wouldn't that be a positive thing? The market's not going to view that as positive. I don't think. Because they're most likely going to raise debt or issue shares to acquire whatever they're going to acquire. So people are just going to be butthurt about the dilution. I don't see them using the cash to acquire whatever it is. Maybe, but I don't see it. It's free income. I think it would make more sense to issue shares or get debt to buy whatever they're going to buy. Maybe, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I guess it also just depends on the interest rate and but I don't think the acquisition is going to be viewed as positive. Especially if it is eBay. Like, eBay is not... It's not it. I don't see how eBay is going to be a several $100 billion company. Maybe. You know, we'll see. I don't see it, though. Make sure you guys hit that like button if you haven't. For some reason, we only have 3 likes. I don't really know what happened to the stream. Apparently, I can't even take a couple days off, and it's whatever. Not allowed to take some days off because I feel like dog shit. Not allowed to feel like dog shit. You just gotta be a soulless fucking ass shaker to be a streamer. You just gotta have no soul and no care about anything. No, market's closed. Market's closed. What the fuck? There we go. Here we go. We'll see what they report, I suppose. Luckily, the earnings call starts pretty early. Don't have to sit here and wait forever. That's always nice. Stock's reacting, so earnings could already be out. Not seeing a news drop. Up 3% so far. Maybe it's on the SEC website. Nope. Where is it? It's got to be out. Unless the stock is just reacting for no reason. I don't know. Q2 earnings. So they haven't dropped. I mean, maybe the EPS is out. Oh, right here. Here it is. Not found. What do you mean not found? Brother. There we go. There we go. Here, I'll blow it up a little bit for y'all. Okay. Micron Technology reports results for second quarter of fiscal 2026. Record results and outlook reflect strategic value of memory in AI era. Micron, let's see. Revenue of $23.86 billion versus $13.64 billion for the prior quarter and $8.05 billion for the same period last year. GAAP net income of $13.79 billion or $12.07 per diluted share. Non-GAAP net income of $14.02 billion or $12.2 per diluted share. Operating cash flow of $11.9 billion versus $8.41 billion for the prior quarter and $3.94 billion for the same period last year. Oh wow, Micron's kind of killing it, huh? Micron's kind of killing it. Micron set new records across revenue, gross margin, EPS, and free cash flow in fiscal Q2, driven by a strong demand environment, tight industry to supply, and our strong execution. We expect significant records again in fiscal Q3. In the AI era, memory has become a strategic asset for our customers, and we're investing in our global manufacturing footprint to support their growing demand. Reflecting confidence in the sustained strength of our business, our board has approved a 30% increase in quarterly dividend. That's nice. Yeah, their revenue crushing, bro. Their revenue's crushing. For the second quarter of 2026, investments in capital expenditures net were $5 billion, and adjusted free cash flow was $6.9 billion. Micron ended the quarter with cash, marketable investments, and restricted cash of $16.7 billion. On March 18th, 2026, Micron's board of directors declared a quarterly dividend of 0.15 per share, payable in cash on April 15th, 2026, to shareholders of record as of the close of business on March 30th, 2026. Okay, they didn't really give much. Just their revenues. They didn't give anything else. Let's see, sitting on 100 billion. What is their market cap? 500 billion? $72 billion in total equity. Not as overpriced as a lot of things. Damn, 19 billion in net income so far this year? That's insane, dude. Micron's fucking crushing, bro. Micron is absolutely crushing. I mean, the stock is one of the only stocks that is actually like at all-time highs still, as far as semiconductors go. So I mean, the financials reflect that very well. Micron is destroying. You know, is that how it's going to be? Is it going to stay that way going forward? I guess we'll see, but the stock definitely reflected what they've posted. Crazy, crazy numbers. Very impressive. Very impressive. Let's see, is there anything on here that's any different? Probably not. How is there 95 people here, but we have 5 likes on the stream? That doesn't really make any sense. Is it just a bunch of bots here? You guys want to like hit the like button or something? Like, that's insane. That's insane. Yeah, Micron crushed. Micron crushed, man. That was some of the most impressive earnings I've seen. How's it not going up after crushing earnings? The stock's at all-time highs, bro. It's at a 500 billion market cap while they're only sitting on 100 billion in assets. What are you talking about? It's literally at all-time highs. Are you like new to the stock market or something? Like, that's an insane thing to say. That's an insane thing to say. Unreal. The stock's only doubled the past 4 months. Unreal. Like, what? You're basing your opinion off lagging data? Pretty interesting. Oh no, Micron's actually up to date, potentially. Q2 2026. Might be one of the few businesses that is actually up to date with their earnings. It's not a few months behind. March 18th. Ended February. Okay, so it's like yeah, it's actually, wow, this is actually one of the few companies that isn't like months behind on their earnings. This is relatively up to date. Pretty interesting. Most companies are like 2 quarters behind, or a full quarter. Yeah, we can't talk about stocks if you already just like assume PE matters. Can't even have a good conversation about stocks when that's what you're focused on. Who cares about PE? SWMR stock IPO? Nah, I don't know what that is. I don't pay attention to stocks that just go straight up. It's not interesting. I like investing in real businesses that have real value, and the stock's not up a fuck ton. A stock IPOing and going up 11x isn't interesting. Kind of cool though. Not really anything out of the ordinary though. Stuff like that happens pretty frequently, I feel like. And then people are all excited about it, and then they buy the top, and then they get wrecked. It's pretty much what happens, and then a small minority actually makes money from it. It's a drone company with 300K in revenue, but valued as 600 million. That's so dumb. That is ridiculously dumb. It's pretty funny though. Oh man. That's wild. I mean, it's also if it's that small of a company, you know, it makes sense why it's up so much. Small companies like that can make pretty crazy moves, but they usually never last. Yeah, like I said, inner crew, we can't have a good conversation about stocks when you're focused on PE that literally doesn't matter. We can't have a good conversation. So you can say whatever you want, but everything you've said in the chat so far is completely irrelevant to me in the investing world. If you think Palantir has any, if you think Palantir matters at all, I mean, we definitely can't have a good conversation. You're comparing Micron to Palantir just because it moved on earnings. Like, we can't have a good conversation about stocks, unfortunately. Talking about things that literally don't matter. There's nothing to enlighten you on. A stock can post the best earnings ever. It doesn't mean it's going to go up. And literally Micron's doubled the past 4 months. So if you think a stock that's already doubled the past 4 months needs to go up more just because they had good earnings, how am I supposed to I can't enlighten you, bro. I can't enlighten you on that. You can't see that the stock's already up fucking massive. You think that just because an earnings report came out, it has to go up? No, that's not how it works. I've seen a bunch of stocks post really good earnings and the stock's down 10-15%. Doesn't matter. Earnings is pretty dumb, actually. Like, the only reason people like earnings is because they YOLO on options and they think they're going to make money, but nobody does. So, but earnings doesn't matter. The stock's literally doubled the past 4 months. Forward P matters. No, it doesn't. What matters? Nothing. Literally nothing. People's opinions on stocks definitely don't, though. I'm full of myself? Why'd you tell me to enlighten you if you're not even going to listen to what just was said? Don't ask people to enlighten you if you're not even going to listen. This is literally why I said we can't have a conversation about stocks, because you think that one day matters? You think a little earnings report matters? You think that just because the stock's not up, that it matters when the stock's doubled the past 4 months? Yeah, all right, you're getting banned. You're getting banned, bro. You're actually an idiot. Fucking insane, bro. This is why I don't talk to people about stocks, because people are so fucking dumb, bro. The stock's not up on earnings. I have 0 DTA fucking DTE options. It needs to go up. I could have bought 4 months ago and doubled, but I bought 0 DTE options this week. So you don't know what you're talking about. Okay. Okay. Again, I've seen a lot of companies absolutely crush earnings, and then next thing you know, the stock's down 10-15%. So your opinion about PE and whatever the fuck you've been fed by the media, it's irrelevant. There's stocks that are overvalued, which potentially Micron's overvalued. You know, you're sitting on 520 billion market cap with only 100 billion in assets. You know, sure, they're crushing it. 19 billion in net income, not too crazy of liabilities. Like, Micron's crushing it, but the stock's still potentially overvalued. So, you know, the fact that it's even at all-time highs and the fact that it's even doubled the past quarter is in of itself very impressive. But yeah. God damn, a lot of haters here today, bro. A lot of fucking little pussies, bro, who lost a bunch of money on options and they gotta take out their frustration on me because they don't know how to invest in a real business. Pretty wild, huh? Pretty wild. Maybe you guys should try investing in a real business instead of YOLOing on options, and maybe you'll find some success in the stock market. Stock price based on what people think the company will be worth in X amount of time ahead of now. Nvidia's priced 180 a share because people believe in 5 years Nvidia will be worth 180. I can get behind that. I can get behind that. That's you know, everyone wants to put the stock market in like this like black or white category, but there's a lot of gray area in the stock market. You know, there's a lot of gray area that people seem to ignore for some reason. They just want to assume they know everything because maybe it just feels good. But I can agree with what you're saying, but there's still a lot of nuances. A lot of nuances. In short supply, and then there will be new factories by then, so dynamics will change greatly again by then. Some stocks people buy in only 3 to 6 month advance. Some people buy on 5+ year expectations. But stocks also get extremely overvalued in moments. So, you know, I agree with I can agree somewhat with what you're saying, but sometimes stocks get ahead of themselves, and then people are paying, you know, rather than it being what it will be in 5 years, people might be paying what it'll be in 10 years, thinking what they're paying is going to be in 5 years, you know? So there's just a lot that goes into this. It goes back, you know, like what that, like, there's so many stocks that get overvalued. I mean, I always bring the PayPal example back in 2020, you know, PayPal was like a $300-ish, $400-ish stock back in 2020 because everyone got all excited. Or same with like Zoom. And, you know, those companies are trash now. So I can agree with some of the things you guys are saying, but there's still a lot of things that you can't even really price in or factor in because the market is pretty interesting. The market's pretty interesting. Sometimes I think Buffett had the good analogy, or was it Peter Lynch, or one of the two? Might be the other guy, I forget his name, but you're like in a business relationship with Mr. Market, and Mr. Market is a drunk or whatever, a psychopathic drunk. I think that's a good description of the market. Earnings out, waiting for call, like your stream. I appreciate it. The call should be starting here pretty shortly. Financial media has people brainwashed. Yeah, but it's also, you know, people make money like one time on an option play or something, and they think that they're like a genius because they made money one time. So, you know, it is the media, but it's also just people in general. It's the same thing with gambling, you know. People, if someone goes and hits a jackpot the first time they're in the casino, they're going to think they're the best gambler ever. They're going to think they're like a professional gambler. It's, you know, there's a lot. There's a lot. Trading earnings is just like entry casino. Oh yeah, for sure. Options can very much change short-term moves like earnings. Are we thinking sell the news when the call starts? You shouldn't make your trading / investment choices off of a hour-long call. Please ban people who don't have respect, what it takes, time, knowledge to have your own channel, take advice or leave it. Personal attacks have no place. Thank you, Muscle Medicine. Appreciate that, bro. I do ban people all the time. Because they think if I don't use, like, industry terms like PE or something, you know, you can't just talk about the stock market like it's a sports betting or something. Everyone just thinks you're an idiot if you're not using the proper terms, but I'm a professional gambler, so I know what I'm talking about. And I've been doing this stock shit for a long time. But I appreciate you, bro. I appreciate you. Rosh! What's up, Rosh? Hope you're doing good, Rosh. How high do I think Micron will rise in the coming days? I mean, I'm surprised it's doubled the past quarter, so I don't have any expectations. Scalpers are in the market, which influence price. I mean, scalpers are only influencing the intraday prices. They're not really influencing how high or low a stock goes within a longer time period. Five years, institutions look forward 6 months, getting shorter more and more as time goes on. Long term is based towards retail. I think that's very debatable. I mean, you can go on Whale Wisdom and look at some of the largest, I mean, you can look at basically every institution, but you can look at the largest institutions in the world, and a lot of them have been holding their stock positions and adding or sometimes trimming the position for 10, 15, 20 years now. So I don't know how accurate that is. You know, there's probably certain institutions, sure, but if you're in a good investment, selling it is pretty dumb, actually. Micron is a 1/3 companies who can produce HMB RAM for AI companies. They basically have a monopoly. Will be a 1 trillion company within a year or two, mark my words. I mean, maybe the market cap will be at 1 trillion, but the business won't be. So I don't need to mark your words. A stock going to 1 trillion market cap has nothing to do with the business. Why is the stock going down? Because it's probably overvalued, most likely. Been working overtime, missed so many streams. Hope you're good, everybody. OGs, welcome to the new people. I honestly haven't been streaming, bro. I haven't streamed in like a week. Took some time away. Just wasn't doing great. I mean, I'm still not doing great if I'm just being honest, but yeah. You know, I think it just goes to show you can make all the money in the world and it doesn't make you happy. I think I'm a pretty good proof of that so far. But I also have high expectations, so maybe when I make more, we'll see. But I think at this point I can safely say that money will never make me happy personally. Probably mostly because it went up a lot beforehand, because everyone expected great numbers. Yeah, the stock could also just be overvalued. I mean, it did double in a quarter. And potentially it was even overvalued last quarter. So, not, you know, maybe, you know, that's highly debatable. Probably fairly valued it in some ways last quarter, but, you know, potentially overvalued to doubling. It's probably just overvalued. We'll see though. You know, maybe next quarter it'll be higher. Who knows? I don't think you should base your opinions or decisions off of one earnings report. So I missed nothing. Great. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, GameStop announced their earnings. That's the only thing. But yeah, you didn't miss anything, bro. I haven't been streaming. I want to get back to it. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like it's just a waste. And I'd be better off just going and getting some random like shit job and just living life like a normal person, but at the same time, you know, there's a lot that's been built the past year and a half that I've been streaming, and it's hard to let go. Because, you know, what if it actually turns into something I could actually do? You know, there's always that possibility. There's always that possibility, so. When do the earnings come out? The earnings are already out, but the earnings call should be starting here any minute now. Technical perspective, MU severely overbought on the 4-hour chart, probably heading towards 425 range. Yeah. I could see that. I don't really base my opinions off technicals, but I could see that. To me, it's all about fundamental analysis. I don't really, and you know, I've done technicals and traded so much, like, I think that's just kind of a easy assumption, to be honest. What's up, Martin? How you been, bro? Stock is tanking. It's down 2%. So your definition of tanking and mine must be severely different. 2% is literally nothing. This earnings call should be starting any minute now. Oh, here we go. Here we go. It's loading. It's loading.
Ladies and gentlemen, Thank you for joining us, and welcome to Micron Technology's fiscal second quarter 2026 financial conference call. After today's prepared remarks, we will host a question and answer session. I will now hand the conference over to Satya Kumar, Investor Relations. Satya, please go ahead.
Thank you, and welcome to Micron Technology's fiscal second quarter 2026 financial conference call. On the call with me today are Sanjay Mehrotra, our Chairman, President, and CEO, and Mark Murphy, our CFO. Today's call is being webcast from our investor relations site at investors.micron.com, including audio and slides. In addition, the press release detailing our quarterly results has been posted on the website, along with the prepared remarks for this call. Today's discussion contains forward-looking statements that are subject to risks and uncertainties. These forward-looking statements include statements regarding our future financial and operating performance, as well as trends and expectations in our business, customers, market, industry, products, and regulatory and other matters. These statements are based on our current assumptions, and we assume no obligation to update these statements. Please refer to our most recent financial report on Forms 10-K, Forms 10-Q, and our other filings with the SEC for more information on the risks and uncertainties that could cause actual results to differ materially from expectations. Today's discussion of financial results is presented on a non-GAAP financial basis unless otherwise specified. A reconciliation of GAAP to non-GAAP financial measures can be found on our website. I'll now turn the call over to Sanjay.
Thank you, Satya. Micron delivered an exceptional fiscal Q2 with stellar records in revenue, gross margin, EPS, and free cash flow. Quarterly revenue nearly tripled versus 1 year ago, and revenue for DRAM, NAND, HBM, and each business unit reached new highs. Our fiscal Q3 single quarter revenue guidance exceeds the full year revenue for every year in our company's history through fiscal 2024. For fiscal Q3, we anticipate exceptional records across revenue, gross margin, EPS, and free cash flow. Reflecting confidence in the sustained strength of our business, I'm pleased to announce that our board has approved a 30% increase in our quarterly dividend. The step up in our results and outlook are the outcome of an increase in memory demand driven by AI, structural supply constraints, and Micron's strong execution across the board. Our memory and storage solutions are at the heart of this AI revolution. Memory makes AI smarter and more capable, enabling longer context windows, deeper reasoning chains, and multi-agent orchestration. As AI evolves, we expect compute architectures to become more memory intensive. This is why we strongly believe that Micron is one of the biggest beneficiaries and enablers of AI. AI hasn't just increased demand for memory, it has fundamentally recast memory as a defining strategic asset in the AI era. We continue to work with customers on strategic customer agreements, or SCAs, that are different from prior LTAs and have specific commitments over a multi-year time horizon for improved visibility and stability in our business model. These SCAs also provide customers greater certainty to plan their businesses while reinforcing long-term engagement across our broad product portfolio. We are excited to have signed our first 5-year SCA. We are making excellent progress ramping our industry-leading 1-gamma DRAM and G9 NAND technology nodes. We expect 1-gamma to become the highest volume node in Micron's history. Our 1-gamma node was already the fastest ramp to mature yields, is ramping volumes faster than all prior nodes in our history, and is on track to become a majority of our DRAM bit mix by mid-calendar 2026. We plan to increase EUV adoption at the 1-delta DRAM node, utilizing the latest generation EUV tools. These more advanced EUV tools will help us optimize both cleanroom space efficiency and patterning when scaling to 1-delta and beyond. In NAND, our G9 node also remains on track to constitute a majority of bits by mid-calendar 2026. We also achieved a record mix of QLC bits in the quarter. Looking ahead, we expect co-location of R&D and high-volume manufacturing at our Boise and our Singapore sites to speed up time to market for our leading-edge products. We see an unprecedented set of opportunities for memory and storage to enable the AI era across market segments and expect to meaningfully increase our R&D investments in fiscal 2027. Micron's technology leadership, product excellence, and manufacturing execution is being recognized in quality scores from our customers. I'm pleased to report that a clear majority of our customers rank Micron number one in quality. Turning to our end markets. AI demand is driving DRAM and NAND data center bit TAM to exceed 50% of the industry TAM for the first time in calendar 2026. Traditional server demand is robust, driven by a combination of demand from workloads initiated by agentic AI as well as broad-based server refresh. AI server demand continues to be strong. Both AI and traditional server demand are constrained by lack of adequate DRAM and NAND supply. We expect server units to grow in the low teens percentage range in calendar 2026, driven by growth in both AI and traditional servers. We expect server DRAM content to continue to grow in calendar 2026 with the introduction of new platforms. At NVIDIA's GTC, we announced that Micron has begun volume shipment of its HBM4 36GB 12-high in the first quarter of calendar year 2026 and is designed for NVIDIA Vera Rubin. With our HBM4 production ramp and volume shipments underway, we expect to reach mature yields faster than HBM3E. We have also sampled our HBM4 16-high product, which provides 48 GB of HBM capacity in each HBM cube, a 33% increase in HBM capacity compared to HBM4 12-high. Development of HBM4E, our next generation HBM product, is well underway, and we expect to ramp volume in calendar 2027. Our HBM4E will leverage Micron's production-proven, industry-leading 1-gamma DRAM technology node and is set to deliver another step function improvement in performance, enabling a whole new generation of AI compute platforms across the industry. Additionally, HBM4E customization options offer us further differentiation opportunities and even deeper R&D engagement with customers. Micron pioneered the development of LP DRAM for the data center, which consumes 1/3 the power of DDR DRAM server modules. Building on this leadership, we sampled the industry's first 256GB LP SOCAMM2 product, which is built using our 1-gamma node and enables a massive 2 TB of capacity per CPU, quadrupling the content from just a year ago. We see expanding use of LP DRAM in the data center in the years ahead, and we are excited to maintain an industry-leading innovative product roadmap in this market. Rapid growth in AI inference is driving the emergence of new architectures optimized for the token economics of specific workloads. Micron's broad portfolio of HBM, LP, DDR, and SSD is a critical enabler across these architectures. At GTC, the recent announcement of NVIDIA Groq 3 LPX implements up to 12 TB of DDR5 in a rack-scale architecture. We are seeing an acceleration in NAND bit demand in the data center due to AI use cases such as vector database and KV cache offload, and due to growing share of SSDs in capacity storage tiers. Micron's data center SSD product portfolio, enabled by our technology leadership and vertical integration, covers the spectrum from highest performance to highest capacity. We are now in high volume production of our G9 NAND-based PCIe Gen 6 high-performance data center SSDs. Our 122 TB high-capacity SSD is seeing strong adoption and delivers 16 times the sequential read throughput per watt of a capacity-matched HDD configuration. Our strategy and execution are delivering results. Our data center SSD market share increased for the fourth consecutive calendar year in 2025 to a new record. In fiscal Q2, data center NAND revenues more than doubled sequentially, reaching a substantial new record, and we expect further growth in the quarter ahead. Micron's data center SSD portfolio is industry-leading, and we have secured a robust set of design wins across our customer base. We are now seeing NAND demand significantly in excess of our available supply for the foreseeable future. In calendar 2026, a number of factors, including DRAM and NAND supply constraints, could cause PC and smartphone units to decline in the low double digits percentage range. Over time, we expect the value of on-device AI to drive strong memory content growth in PCs and smartphones. In PCs, there has been exciting innovation recently with agentic AI applications such as OpenClaw, where AI agents can perform tasks independently on the host PC and also initiate workloads in the cloud. PCs with on-device agentic AI capabilities have recommended memory configurations of at least 32 gigabytes, twice as much as the average PC. Additionally, the fast-growing new category of personal AI workstations, such as NVIDIA DGX Spark and AMD Ryzen AI Halo, come in 128 gigabyte configurations, ideal for using large language models on device. Likewise, in smartphones, OEMs have recently announced new flagship devices such as Samsung Galaxy S26 and Google Pixel 10 with agentic AI integrated into their mobile operating systems. The mix of flagship smartphones shipping with 12 gigabyte or more of DRAM increased to nearly 80% in calendar Q4, up from under 20% a year ago. Micron is well positioned to accelerate the opportunities in these markets with our industry-leading portfolio of products. In PC, Micron completed qualifications for LPCAMM2 at a major OEM. At CES, we launched the industry's first Gen 5 QLC client SSD based on G9 NAND. Micron's LPDDR5X is now designed into leading personal AI workstations, expanding our addressable market with high volumes shipped to key customers. In smartphones, Micron continues to receive strong interest and feedback from OEM and ecosystem partners on our 1-gamma-based LPDDR6 samples. We built momentum with additional qualifications and mass production of our 10.7 gigabit per second 1-gamma LPDDR5X 16 gigabit product. We saw continued pricing improvement across automotive, industrial, and embedded markets. Total AEBU revenue reached a record, with automotive and industrial revenue together exceeding $2 billion in the quarter. In automotive, OEMs are deploying Level 2 plus ADAS across their fleets at an accelerating pace. The average car today has less than L2 ADAS capability, containing approximately 16 gigabytes of DRAM, while vehicles with L4 autonomy require over 300 gigabytes. As more advanced ADAS and smart cabin adoption scales, we expect robust long-term growth in automotive memory demand. We have shipped samples of the industry's first automotive-grade 1-gamma LPDDR5 DRAM, and in NAND, we were first in the industry with a G9-based UFS 4.1 automotive solution, further reinforcing our technology leadership in this market. Rapid improvements in AI are supercharging the capabilities of robots. We believe we are on the cusp of a 20-year growth vector in robotics and expect robotics to become one of the largest product categories in the technology world. Humanoid robots will be AI-enabled and will be powered by a compute platform that rivals that of a high-end L4-capable automobile, thus requiring significant memory and storage capacity. We expect this exciting new category of growth to further underpin the long-term favorable dynamics that shape our industry environment. Micron is very well positioned to leverage this opportunity in close partnership with our customers, enabled by our industry-leading technology, product solutions, and operational capabilities. Now turning to our market outlook. We expect both DRAM and NAND industry bit demand in calendar 2026 to be constrained by supply. We continue to expect supply-demand conditions for both DRAM and NAND to remain tight beyond calendar 2026. We expect industry DRAM bit shipments in calendar 2026 to grow in the low 20s% range, slightly above our prior outlook. In DRAM, clean room constraints and long construction lead times, higher HBM trade ratio, higher HBM growth rates, and declining bits per wafer growth from node migrations constrained bit supply growth. We expect industry NAND bit shipments in calendar 2026 to grow approximately 20%. In NAND, some industry suppliers redirecting clean room space for DRAM and overall limited clean room space constrained bit supply growth. We expect Micron DRAM and NAND supply to grow approximately in line with the industry in calendar 2026. Micron is working to address the unprecedented gap between supply and demand, and we achieved several important milestones in expanding our global manufacturing footprint this past quarter. In DRAM, earlier this week, we announced the successful closing of the acquisition of the Tongluo site from Powerchip Semiconductor, completing the transaction ahead of schedule. We expect this site to support meaningful product shipments from the existing fab beginning in fiscal 2028. Adding to the existing fab, we plan to begin construction of a similar-sized second clean room at this site by the end of fiscal 2026. We continue to expect initial wafer output at our first Idaho fab in mid-calendar 2027, and ground preparation has begun for our second Idaho fab. We broke ground on our first fab at the New York site, and initial ground preparation activities are ahead of plan. In Japan, we are making good progress on ground preparation for our clean room expansion to enable future technology transitions in our Hiroshima site. In NAND, the combination of a higher demand outlook and our decision to co-locate R&D clean room in our manufacturing fab underpin our decision to break ground for a new NAND fab at our Singapore site. We expect initial wafer output from this fab in the second half of calendar 2028. In assembly and test, we commenced commercial shipments from our new facility in India. The state-of-the-art facility will be among the largest single-floor assembly and test clean rooms in the world. Our Singapore advanced packaging facility for HBM is on track to contribute meaningfully to Micron's HBM supply in calendar year 2027. We expect fiscal 2026 CapEx to be above $25 billion. From our last earnings call estimate, the majority of the increase is driven by clean room facility-related CapEx, of which the largest factor is Tongluo, followed by construction spend increase in our U.S. fab projects. We project our fiscal 2027 CapEx to step up meaningfully to support HBM and DRAM-related investments. We expect construction-related CapEx to increase by over $10 billion year over year in fiscal 2027 as we build out our global manufacturing sites to address long-term demand opportunities. In addition, we expect higher equipment spend year over year in fiscal 2027. As we make these investments, we will continue to be responsive to the market environment and our customer demand to appropriately align our supply plans. I will now turn it over to Mark for our fiscal Q2 financial results and outlook.
Thank you, Sanjay, and good afternoon, everyone. Micron delivered strong financial results for the fiscal second quarter, with revenue, gross margin, and EPS all exceeding the high end of our guidance. In fiscal Q2, we generated record free cash flow, reduced our debt, and closed the quarter with the highest net cash position in our history. Total fiscal Q2 revenue was $23.9 billion, up 75% sequentially and up 196% year over year, representing our fourth consecutive quarterly revenue record. The $10.2 billion sequential increase is the largest in our history. Fiscal Q2 DRAM revenue was a record $18.8 billion, up 207% year over year, and represented 79% of total revenue. Sequentially, DRAM revenue increased 74%. Bit shipments were up mid-single digits. Prices increased in the mid-60s% range, driven by tight industry conditions and included favorable mix. Fiscal Q2 NAND revenue was a record $5 billion, up 169% year over year, and represented 21% of Micron's total revenue. Sequentially, NAND revenue increased 82%. NAND bit shipments increased in the low single-digit percentage range. Prices increased in the high 70s% range, driven by tight NAND industry conditions and included favorable mix. The consolidated gross margin for fiscal Q2 was 75%, up 18 percentage points sequentially. This improvement was driven primarily by higher pricing and also included favorable mix and cost performance. Fiscal Q2 gross margin nearly doubled from a year ago and was a company record. Now, turning to quarterly financial performance by business unit. Cloud memory business unit revenue was a record $7.7 billion and represented 32% of total company revenue. CMBU revenue was up 47% sequentially, driven by an increase in prices and favorable mix. CMBU gross margins were 74%, higher by 9 percentage points sequentially, driven by higher pricing and cost execution. Core data center business unit revenue was a record $5.7 billion and represented 24% of total company revenue. CDBU gross margins were 74%, up 23 percentage points sequentially, driven by higher pricing and favorable mix. Mobile and client business unit revenue was a record $7.7 billion and represented 32% of total company revenue. MCBU revenue was up 81% sequentially, driven by higher pricing, partially offset by lower bit shipments. MCBU gross margins were 79%, up 25 percentage points sequentially, driven primarily by higher pricing and favorable mix. Automotive and embedded business unit revenue was a record $2.7 billion and represented 11% of total company revenue. AEBU revenue was up 57% sequentially, driven by higher pricing, partially offset by lower bit shipments. AEBU gross margins were 68%, up 23 percentage points sequentially, driven primarily by higher pricing. Operating expenses in fiscal Q2 were $1.4 billion, up $87 million quarter over quarter. The sequential increase was driven by higher R&D expenses. We generated operating income of $16.5 billion in fiscal Q2, resulting in an operating margin of 69%, up 22 percentage points sequentially and 44 percentage points year over year. Fiscal Q2 taxes were $2.5 billion on an effective tax rate of 15.1%. Non-GAAP diluted earnings per share in fiscal Q2 was $12.20, with 155% sequential growth and 682% growth versus the year-ago quarter. Turning to cash flow and capital expenditures, in fiscal Q2, operating cash flows were $11.9 billion. Capital expenditures were $5 billion, resulting in free cash flow of $6.9 billion. Fiscal Q2 free cash flow was a quarterly record for the company, exceeding our prior record in fiscal Q1 2026 by 77%. Ending inventory for fiscal Q2 is $8.3 billion, up $62 million sequentially, with days of inventory at 123. DRAM inventory days remain especially tight and below 120 days. We reached record levels of cash and investments of $16.7 billion at quarter end and had liquidity over $20 billion when including our untapped credit facility. In fiscal Q2, we repurchased $350 million of shares as permitted by the terms of the CHIPS agreement. During the quarter, we also reduced debt by $1.6 billion, including redemption of senior notes maturing in 2029 and 2030. The weighted average maturity on our outstanding debt is August 2034. We closed the quarter with $10.1 billion of debt and a net cash balance of $6.5 billion. Reinvesting in the profitable growth of our business across R&D, CapEx, and other strategic investments remains our top priority for capital allocation. We are committed to maintaining a strong balance sheet, have reduced our total debt by over $5 billion in the last 3 quarters, and are at our strongest net cash position ever. Reflecting the sustained strength of our technology leadership and cash generation, as Sanjay mentioned, the board has approved a 30% increase in our quarterly dividend to 15 cents per share. Now turning to our guidance. We expect fiscal Q3 revenue to be a record $33.5 billion, plus or minus $750 million. Gross margin to be approximately 81%, and operating expenses to be approximately $1.4 billion. Based on a share count of approximately 1.15 billion shares, we expect EPS to be a record $19.15 per share, plus or minus 40 cents. We expect higher price, lower cost, and favorable mix to all contribute to gross margin expansion in Q3. As mentioned last quarter, Micron's fiscal Q4 2026 OpEx will also reflect the effect of an additional work week in this 53-week fiscal year. We expect to increase our fiscal 2027 OpEx as we ramp R&D investments in support of an unprecedented set of long-term opportunities in memory and storage. We expect a fiscal Q3 and fiscal year 2026 tax rate of around 15.1%. Micron continues to invest in a disciplined manner across our global footprint. To address customer demand, as mentioned earlier, we now project our capital spending in fiscal 2026 to be above $25 billion. In fiscal Q3, we project CapEx of approximately $7 billion, while delivering significantly higher free cash flow on stronger operating cash flow. Due to the need for clean room capacity, we expect our construction spend growth rate to outpace equipment spend growth in both fiscal 2026 and fiscal 2027. Any impacts that may occur due to trade or geopolitical developments are not included in our guidance. I'll now turn it over to Sanjay to close.
Thank you, Mark. Decades of investment in innovation and execution has established Micron as a technology leader in memory and storage, and as one of the semiconductor industry's biggest beneficiaries and enablers of AI. As the only US-based manufacturer of advanced memory products, Micron is uniquely positioned to capitalize on the unprecedented opportunities ahead. I want to thank our team members worldwide whose execution made this outstanding quarter possible. As strong as these results are, I'm even more excited about what's ahead for Micron. We will now open for questions.
Thank you.
We will now begin the question and answer session. Please limit yourself to one question and one follow-up. If you would like to ask a question, please press *1 to raise your hand and *6 to unmute. Your first question comes from the line of Krish Sankar from TD Cowen. Please go ahead.
Mark, the 81% gross margin guide is very impressive. Just kind of curious how to think about the sustainability of gross margins, especially as you bring more HBM4 into the mix. So if you can give some color on how to think about gross margins in the August quarter and beyond, that'll be very helpful. Then I have a follow-up for Sanjay.
So Chris, this is Mark. So we provide a strong guide up 600 basis points, sequentially into the third quarter. We're not going to provide the fourth quarter gross margin guidance. However, we have indicated that that market conditions we expect to remain tight beyond 26. So clearly beyond the fourth quarter. What you're seeing reflected in our gross margin is the benefits of AI driving a multi-year investment cycle, most of which is ahead of us. And and AI requires more high performance, more memory, and more high performance memory, and that's reflected in the margins. We've talked about supply factors, and those are going to continue beyond 26. The 81% contemplates a growth in HBM4, but we expect, as I mentioned, market conditions to be strong. Keep in mind that at these gross margin levels, incremental increase in price is going to have less of an effect on gross margin. But beyond that, we're not providing a fourth quarter gross margin.
Got it. Thanks for that, Mark. And then a quick question for Sanjay on the SCA. Congrats on your first 5-year SCA. How different is it from an LTA? Is this a multi-year volume and price commitment, or does the price get negotiated every year? And also, how to think about cancellation terms in the SCA in case the cycle slows down during the time frame? Thanks, Sanjay.
So thank you for recognizing us for the first SCA that we have completed here. And, as you noted, SCA is multi-year agreement, and we noted that in our remarks as well. LTAs have tended to be, typically 1-year agreement. And of course, in this environment of extremely tight supply outlook, in the foreseeable time frame as well, of course, our customers are very motivated, in order for their own planning purposes and for their better predictability to have these structural strategic agreements with us. And of course, these agreements are really meant to bring stability and greater visibility into our business model as well. We have completed one SCA, so we are not going to be getting into the specifics here of these agreements. I'm sure you can appreciate that these SCAs are confidential in nature. But of course, these SCAs are meant to achieve the objectives for the customers in terms of their ability to plan and be able to count on supply commitments that are in the agreements, but also for us to be able to count on specific commitments that are there from the customers. And, these are meant to go across the periods when the industry is very tight versus, other parts of the industry environment as well. So that's why they're long-term agreements, and they have robust terms in them.
Got it. Thanks a lot, Sanjay.
Robust terms in them for us as well as for our customers.
Got it. Thank you very much.
Your next question comes from the line of Joseph Moore from Morgan Stanley. Your line is open. Please go ahead.
Allocation questions by end market. Obviously, the AI is the area that has the most urgency, but do you worry about demand destruction for things like PCs and smartphones? Are you trying to balance big customer, small customer? Just how are you thinking about that allocation process?
I mean, clearly supply is extremely tight, and supply is tight across all end markets. Demand trends are strong across the end markets, while price-sensitive markets, such as the consumer examples that you gave, may have some demand that is getting impacted due to the higher prices. But overall demand in those markets as well stay pretty strong. And our goal and strategy always is to be a diversified supplier to our various end markets. I think that is very important for us. Of course, data center is becoming a bigger and bigger part of the industry TAM. So, of course, bigger portion of the supply goes there. And that's the main driver of growth for the industry as well as for Micron results. But other parts of the markets are important to us, such as PCs, such as smartphone, automotive, of course, industrial. And, we want to maintain that well-diversified mix for our end markets. And I would just like to point out that overall, whether in data center or in the consumer parts of the market, such as smartphone or PCs, the AI trend is continuing to drive greater and greater requirement for memory content. Of course, customers are working, in this tight supply environment to manage the mix of their products. But overall, we are very much working with customers across our end markets.
Great, thank you. And I think in the past you've sort of said that some customers are getting 70% of what they're asking for. Is that still kind of the ballpark of what you're dealing with? Are there customers higher, lower than that than they were 3 months ago?
Yeah. What we have said is in the last earnings call that some of our key customers we are able to fulfill only 50% to 2/3 of their demand in the medium term. And yes, that still remains the case.
Great. Thank you. Great quarter.
Thank you.
Your next question comes from the line of Timothy Arcuri. Your line is open. Please go ahead.
Thanks a lot. Sanjay, I also wanted to ask about the SCAs. Can you give, I think we're all trying to sort of think on the, to the other side of the cycle and hope that these SCAs provide some mechanism that will kind of limit your, gross margin on the downside to a certain, number. So I know you don't want to give too many details, but is it fair to say that there is a mechanism in these SCAs that would limit your gross margin on the downside when things do finally roll back over?
So, certainly not getting into the specifics of these SCAs for the obvious reasons of confidentiality of these agreements. We have done successfully completed one SCA. We are in discussions with multiple other customers. And if and when we complete these agreements and as appropriate, we will, of course, share further details with you. But what I want to highlight is that these SCAs are multi-year and they have specific commitments in them, and beyond, and these are robust agreements, and of course these are meant to absolutely give us the visibility and stability toward our business model. Beyond that, really, I cannot get into any specifics at this point.
Okay, thanks. And then Mark, I just had a question about cash. So you're going to generate, $35-40 billion in free cash flow this fiscal year. You're going to probably have more than $50 billion in cash by the end of the calendar year. So what do you do with this? Are you planning to set aside a bunch of it to sort of buy back a bunch of stock on the other side? And I guess with respect to that, you do have restrictions on the repo from the money you took from the CHIPS Act. Is there any way to get that reworked? Thanks.
Yeah, Tim. So we're thrilled with the performance of the business and the improvement in the balance sheet, ended the second quarter with record net cash and record free cash flow, beating the previous quarter's record by 77%. Our third quarter guide, when you take those numbers and consider the CapEx we gave, we could see cash flow double roughly sequentially. We're going to continue to build on the balance sheet strength and improve our net cash position. We're continuing to de-lever and pay down debt. Noteworthy that we received 2 credit upgrades in the quarter. So we're now a solid BBB. So we're getting stronger, while, as you can see, we've talked about increasing our CapEx investment and increasing our R&D investment. Now to your specific question on balance sheet priority or capital allocation, balance sheet is always going to be a priority, along with organic investment in our business to advance technology and to put in capacity for value add bits, which we certainly see now. Generating return on capital at this point over 30%, headed towards 50%. We're going to remain disciplined there, though. And then you saw today, we're pleased to announce a dividend increase of 30%, reflects the confidence we have in our business outlook, stability of the business, and cash returns in the future. And then, as you said, we will have, we believe, significant capacity then for returning cash to shareholders through repurchase, combination of offsetting dilution from stock comp, and then opportunistically repurchasing.
Thanks, Mark.
Your next question comes from the line of CJ Muse from Cantor Fitzgerald. Your line is open. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon. Thanks for taking the question. Wanted to follow up again, the SCA question. So you've had an evolution here, LTAs binding, now SCAs. I'm curious if you could kind of discuss the breadth of the different customers that you're speaking with. Is it only hyperscale, or are there others that are interested in? And I know you don't want to go into specific details on the contract, but just to follow up on the last question, is there any CapEx forward requirements tied to these agreements? Are there pricing tied to an ROIC on those investments? Any help there would be helpful. Thank you.
So we'll share with you that the SCA that we just have signed is with a large customer. And of course, these agreements are very much focused on, allowing us to invest with confidence in our, future supply plans. And of course, also, just having specific terms that, enable us to have overall better visibility into the future demand. And, as I said earlier, enable stability around the business model as well. And CJ, beyond that, really, we are not commenting on the SCAs other than we'll say that, of course, as I mentioned earlier, these SCA discussions are proceeding with multiple customers. And yes, these are across multiple markets as well.
Very helpful. And then I guess as a quick follow-up for HBM, I think you guided last quarter 40% growth CAGR, which would suggest roughly $50 billion in revenues for the market this year. Has that number changed? And are you seeing any sort of kind of preference for perhaps moving bits to D5 over HBM by any industry players, given today the higher margins that we see there? Thanks so much.
So yes, it is correct that the margins for non-HBM today are higher than HBM margins. Demand for HBM, of course, continues to be strong. We have not updated the numbers that we had provided last in terms of the outlook for the HBM TAM. Of course, the demand for DDR5, LP, and HBM, all of them continue to be strong in the data center. And, we, of course, continue to manage the mix of the business as the data center AI demand continues to grow. And as I said earlier, we, of course, outside of data center, we are very much focused on making sure that we are maintaining relevant share in our key other market segments as well. So we are overall in this environment of strong AI demand trends across data center to the edge. We are very much focused on continuing to manage our portfolio, and we see strong growth opportunity for the full portfolio of Microns in the data center. And I'll just point out there that that portfolio is about HBM, it's about ALP, it's about SOCAM, it's about DDR5, as well as our data center SSDs which have made tremendous strides in terms of our market share in data center SSDs over the course of last few years.
Thank you.
Your next question comes from the line of Harlan Sur from JP Morgan. Your line is open. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon, and congratulations on the solid results and strong quarterly execution. Maybe Sanjay, to carry on from where you left off on your commentary on SSD. In the November quarter of last year, I estimated that your enterprise SSD business was almost half of your total flash business, right? I think it was up like 60% sequentially. Obviously, a very favorable mix shift from a margin perspective for the Micron team. And as you mentioned, you remain a strong top 3 global supplier of ESSD. Off of that strong number, it looks like your ESSD business doubled sequentially in the February quarter, still 50% of the NAND mix. Looking forward, with the G9 node continuing to ramp, your next generation ESSDs, performance optimized, capacity optimized, mainstream, all on G9, does this give the team a runway to continue to drive sequential growth in ESSD through the remainder of this calendar year and into next year? And then I just wanted to get your thoughts on this new proposed memory tier of high bandwidth flash. Is this an area where the Micron team might start to focus some R&D resources?
So regarding your question on data center SSDs, of course, this is an area of strong growth ahead. And NAND supply stays strong. NAND supply is very tight, and the demand for NAND stays strong. And the data center SSDs are a big driver of NAND growth here as well. And Micron is well positioned with our portfolio of SSDs, really going across the requirements in terms of capacity as well as performance. Across the various customers using TLC as well as QLC, with respect to our data center mix. So very well positioned with this. And, this is as part of our strategy of continuing to shift our portfolio, our revenue mix toward higher profit pools of the industry and, higher value parts of the market. We, of course, will continue to address opportunities for growing our SSD business. We feel really good about the trajectory that we have been on with data center SSD and the trajectory that is planned ahead for us as well. And, regarding your question on HBF, high bandwidth flash here. So, of course, high bandwidth flash has some positive attributes, such as capacity, but it has the limitations that NAND has, such as write speed as well as power and retention. Therefore, there'll be potentially some workloads here, where this may be a possible solution, but it is really early. And, what is needed, of course, is engagement with the customers here in terms of really understanding the business value proposition of HBF. But we, of course, continue to study this.
No, I appreciate that. And then how much of these multi-year SCA agreements is due to the sort of inherent requirements for earlier and longer-term engagement with your GPU, XPU chip customers, just due to the customization of their next-generation HBM architectures, right? Especially around the base die. And given the 12 to 18-month design cycle times for these custom base dies, the sharing of IP between you and your chip customers, and optimizing the base die to your process flow, right? It does imply that they have to engage with you much earlier in the design phase for their GPUs and XPUs. Is this another factor driving these multi-year SCAs?
Again, we are not really getting into the specifics, not getting into the specific type of customers here as well. But what I will definitely tell you is that, yes, these SCAs really bring us closer to the customer in terms of, customer as well as our partnership. And that partnership, of course, extends into bringing us closer in terms of R&D collaboration and roadmap planning, both ours as well as for customers. So that's, definitely one of the benefits of these SCAs as well.
Yeah, thank you.
Your next question comes from the line of Tom O'Malley from Barclays. Your line is open. Please go ahead.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking the questions and really nice results. So GTC and OFC this week, I think there's a lot of conversation just around the LPU architecture and the increased use of SRAM. Could you talk about your view on the memory market longer term as you see more workloads relying on other types of memory outside of the HBM that you're already using? And then just as a broader question, with so much of the demand coming in these longer term agreements being associated with data center and just a few number of customers that can actually acquire and build these products, how are you benchmarking when you're adding capacity? Do you have an internal forecast for accelerators? Are you talking customer by customer and building bottoms-up forecasts? Just so that you know in year 3, year 4, year 5 that you're offering enough supply to the industry and not getting into a situation in which we're at an oversupply. Thank you very much.
So first of all, on your question on the SRAM and LPU-based architectures, I would just like to point out that, of course, these kind of architectures make the AI infrastructure more efficient. And any architecture that make AI infrastructure more efficient, they're good for all AI. Basically, they help the pie grow faster. Keep in mind that this LPU architecture works in conjunction with Vera Rubin, which utilizes tremendous amount of HBM as well as DRAM. And the NVIDIA Groq LPX, this LPU-based architecture, actually a rack uses 12 terabyte of DRAM in it as well. So all of this actually is addressing the workloads, in a more efficient manner. This helps with, of course, the token economics, the token speed, scale up of AI across inference helps with the power, and every bit that helps overall is good for further scaling up and acceleration of AI demand as well. So we look at this as complementing what already exists with respect to HBM and DRAM, and of course, continuing to grow the pie and accelerate deployment of AI. Just keep in mind that today in the enterprises, the AI deployment as a percentage is still very, very low. And there is, across all verticals, across all industries, across the economies, there is a lot of opportunity ahead. So we are excited about all of these opportunities for our full portfolio of HBM, LP, DRAM, SOCAM, and SSD in addressing these future market requirements. And ultimately, all of this just points to how strategic of an asset memory is for AI, because without more memory, without faster memory, AI just cannot scale up. AI just cannot deliver the capabilities, whether it's in training or in an inference. Just look at from last year to this year, the DRAM requirement in the advanced AI accelerators has now doubled. And so really, and this is these are some of the factors that are contributing to the supply shortage. And of course, these trends of greater deployment of AI apply on the edge devices, smartphone, and PCs as well. So we are excited about the opportunities ahead and really, absolutely continue to see strong opportunities for our full portfolio ahead.
Your next question comes from the line of Vivek Arya from Bank of America Securities. Please go ahead.
Thanks for taking my questions. Sanjay, on HBM4, do you expect your share to be in this target 20-25% range right off the bat, or do you think you will kind of build towards it over time? Just conceptually, how do you see the puts and takes in terms of whether you can actually expand your HBM share in this upcoming Vera Rubin generation?
You know, we have shared before that in CQ3 of last year, we reached our HBM target, which we have targeted for calendar 26, to bring our HBM share in line with DRAM share. And we had also said that, going forward, we are going to manage our HBM as part of the mix of our total portfolio and are not going to break out, the share quarter by quarter here. But what I can tell you is that we feel very good about our HBM product positioning, feel very good about overall HBM product. Of course, the market is there for both HBM4 as well as HBM3E in calendar 2026, and we will be supplying both of these products and feel good about our overall position here and our ability to fully manage the mix of the business.
And for my follow-up, Mark, I wanted to revisit this 81% gross margin guidance. I appreciate you're not giving a specific forward view, but what has happened in kind of prior historical peaks where Micron's margins, I think, peaked in the low 60s, I believe. So what is the difference between the prior situations versus now? What have those kind of historical precedents indicated to you about how the trajectory of gross margins can be over the next several quarters? How do customers start to react differently when they see these level of gross margins, and what is a very, very important input into their AI silicon? Thank you.
And before Mark answers that question, can I just point out that I, accidentally said that we targeted to reach our HBM share in Q3 26. Of course, I said it wrong by mistake. I meant that we had targeted to get to our HBM share in 25, and we achieved our HBM share in line with our DRAM share in Q3 of 25. And beyond that Q3 25, we had said we are not going to be providing any further mix of HBM share. So I just wanted to correct what I accidentally said, 26 instead of 25.
Vivek, I would say that, keep in mind that the industry is supply constrained. So, and conditions will remain, very tight, and that's beyond 26. So, that certainly supports the near term, medium term pricing, and we've discussed how we're working with customers to allocate best we can to their businesses and work with them on adding capacity, work with them on supply assurance, working them with new products and so forth. I think your question about, reverting to some historical mean, I think maybe, that's the thing that should be revisited is, we have a situation where AI is a transformational secular driver. As Sanjay mentioned, AI requires more and higher performance memory, and this memory helps with the, driving the token cost down. It helps lower the energy cost per token. It increases the number of tokens. It increases intelligence overall of AI, which drives harder problem sets, and agent use, which drives more tokens and needs more memory. So it's become, the margins are reflecting recognition that memory is a lot more valuable and an efficient way to monetize AI, and that's from data center to the edge. So, and then on top of that, we've been clear for, a year or more that there are, supply constraints that exist on a number of fronts that are that will take time. There are low inventory levels. There's declining bits per wafer on node advances, HBM trade ratio, and that's increasing. And then any new capacity really needs to be greenfield, which is a physical constraint, which takes a lot of time. So these are both durable factors, both the value of memory and the structural challenge of bringing on supply, and we're working that both those issues. We're investing in capacity, and we're also increasing R&D to continue to advance the technology and improve the value of memory. And we believe that these will help with margins over time. And I think customers are recognizing that and entering into these agreements.
Thank you.
This concludes today's call. Thank you for attending. You may now disconnect.
Oh, that was an abrupt ending. Make sure you guys hit the like button on your way out. Appreciate you stopping in. Why do people keep saying Micron should be $1,000 stock? That'd be $1 trillion market cap. What makes you think that it should be at $1 trillion market cap? Over $1 trillion market cap? Is that just like what you want because you have money in it? Or is there like an actual good reason to think that? I assume nobody's gonna answer, but I feel like you guys just have money in the stock and you just want that to happen. Yeah, that's what I figured. I figured nobody would answer. What does NVIDIA have to do with Micron? It doesn't even have anything to do with anything. Literally. Okay, what does that have to do with the stock being $1,000? That doesn't have anything to do with anything. I regret asking the question. So I'm just gonna go now. You guys, good luck on your investing journeys. Goodbye.